My name is Erica Lorraine Spencer, and I remain subject to state surveillance and terrorism by the state of California that is operating a malicious targeting system which is referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices. And it is in violation of federal stalking statute 18 U.S.C. sections 2261A subsections 1 and 2. My website and podcast serve the public good by publishing evidence of the public entity's ceaseless engagement in a pattern of conduct intended to stalk and monitor via communication devices, surveil, harass, and terrorize an American citizen in concert with the people of the state of California. Documentation serves the lawful purposes of wide exposure, federal prosecution, and influencing federal legislation with policies specifically designed to punish, dismantle, and disincentivize an unprecedented targeting system by a public entity that acts in concert with the people of the state in order to criminally place under surveillance and terrorize an American citizen, which is a matter of public corruption in the state of California. See thepatternofconduct.wordpress.com.
It's Friday, May 13th, 2022. It's 12:54 a.m. The entity is repeatedly stalking by helicopter, as I captured in several videos. I just captured another video moments ago. The entity is flying directly over me at the Museum of History and Arts. 12:54 a.m. This is the obsession. Again, as I have spoken to before, the obsessive stalker is literally evidenced through what is my documentation of literally the stalking conduct itself. But like I said, the obsessive stalker is also demonstrated through the environment, and especially the people of the state. The demon-possessed stalker that are the people of the state. Demon possession is the condition of this minion that is flying over me by helicopter, obsessively stalking, pursuing me, remaining around me, flying circles over me at the Ontario Museum of History and Arts, and the people of the state, a demon-possessed group stalker that is acting on behalf of the entity, the people of the state. These are demons that are engaging in this obsessive conduct, and they're acting together. And so in the same way that this obsession is illustrated literally as I capture video after video after video after video, and on my podcast and capturing audio snippets so that you can hear the entity stalking me by helicopters and planes. The entity is also in that environment where you're witnessing the gymnastics with light, where you're witnessing what is the maintenance of an environment that is literally a cartoon environment. It's an entirely abnormal conduct in an abnormal environment, and this is the satanic targeting system. It is group stalking. And so again, it's 12:55 a.m. and I did just capture video moments earlier today, May 13, 2022, and I captured a series of videos last night as well, where the entity is, and this is the overnight conduct, the entity that is going nowhere, engaging in what is ongoing criminal surveillance as the entity acts directly. And during the day, as I am documenting the people of the state, I am documenting the same exact state of California, the same exact demon possession, which is criminal activity. This federal group stalking and monitoring system is the practicing of ritualistic stalking activity by a demon-possessed population. And that demon possession is that of the state of California, okay? Government actors engaging in what is all manner of demented group stalking conduct and engaging in what is criminal monitoring while they do so. And it is the very engagement of what is satanic conduct as well. And so that is the criminalization of this demonic activity. And this criminal activity, which is demented, which I'm exposing, which I'm literally translating, breaking down for the masses as I'm documenting and prosecuting, is also in violation of existing federal law because, again, this satanic conduct, what the entity is engaging in, group stalking, the three elements of monitoring, light, activity, and relevant positioning. The entity is engaged in what is criminal monitoring. This is criminal surveillance in violation of Title 18, Section 2261A, subsections 1 and 2. And so that's what the state of California is doing. That is why the government is stalking me by helicopter. That is why I'm able to capture that ongoing occurrence, and not just at the museum where I'm sleeping. This is a pattern of conduct where the entity is following me by helicopter everywhere that I go, okay, at all times of the day, not just obsessively stalking me where it is that I sleep. All right, and this is not a matter of me sleeping outside at the Ontario Museum of History and Arts. This is actually a matter of what is an obsessed stalker that is following me everywhere that I go, everywhere that I remain, including into what are bathrooms, the private space, including when I am living in my apartment, my last private residence, including when I'm living in my car, including when I am remaining inside of any hotel room, the entity engaging in what is, again, as I'm sleeping outside, it is equally criminal. The government has no legal right whatsoever to engage in what is criminal surveillance. And that is what is highlighted with regard to the entity stalking by helicopter. This is terrorism on its face. And it is also unlawful while the government is engaging in what is criminal monitoring, federal group stalking and monitoring. Federal stalking is how it is defined under existing federal law. And the entity is engaging in what is federal stalking as a government in concert with the people of the state, which is absolutely unlawful while I am sleeping even outside. All right. There is no location. There is no type of venue where the government is lawfully engaging in what is criminal surveillance. So you need to understand that. And the people of the state are engaging in what is absolutely criminal conduct in concert with that state. And I will prosecute as the entity has engaged in that at any public venue and at any what is should be a private venue. But as I've shown, the pattern of conduct is removal of any private space, any privacy whatsoever, in addition to what is any private residence, where the entity was engaging in this very pattern of conduct at my former residence, which again was forfeited upon recognition that I was subject to this life-threatening criminal conduct. It's in a whole matter of an unprecedented threat to be subject to this and to realize it and to also identify how you are subject to it through every single last person that is around you, where you work, where it is that you go as a place of worship, which is not even a genuine church, but nonetheless, they're monitoring you there, they're group stalking, they're engaging in this entirely demented criminal activity. There is a history of this documentation, and this documentation that I'm documenting at, again, 12:54 a.m. while the entity is stalking me by helicopter, this is going back to the entity that is going to be prosecuted engaging in this very criminal system that the entity supplies the evidence of. Not that I need it, it's fully documented. I want to be clear on that. But like I said, this is speaking to what is in conformity to a documented pattern of conduct. And it is the evidence that I will use to document minions that I have known for years. Well, not known, but that I have been subject to for years, monitoring me for years. And this is the very criminal conduct that they were and remain engaged in, because it's criminal activity by the government. So while you are engaging in what is criminal activity in 2017, in 2022, while that criminal activity remains underway, you are still being documented. You will be prosecuted for that ceaseless pattern of conduct while the government is continuously group stalking through you. All right. And through you, I'm referencing what are the people of the state. The people of the state are group stalking at the museum right now. Remember, this is not a criminal act by an individual. It's a criminal act by an entity. And the people are being constantly documented as the people are ceaselessly stalking and terrorizing. All right. It is currently 1 a.m. again on May 13, 2022. And this is the P.O.C. (59925P2). It's Frontier Communications. 7J97031. It's currently 8:28 a.m. and I have left the Ontario Museum where the people are engaged in surveillance. 8GJK510 in relevant position at the museum. Indirected light 7KPU282. License 8XJG937. Maintaining presence on behalf of the state at the museum, and doing so. And as I walk up to Euclid Avenue, this is the entity that is crossing path, engaging in group stalking on behalf of the state. This is the P.O.C. And again, it's 8:28 a.m. I am at the bus stop for the Route 8387. That's at the same exact intersection. Again, where I get up, the entity is placing a fake sun over me as I wake up. And this is where the entity is engaging in what is setting what's supposedly the sun, but then again, this is speaking to what is that a natural environment, as that is never the case where the sun is rising and setting at the same location. This is the P.O.C. License 64129J3, 6YFU524, 8VBP649, 8SHW075, 6Y, I can't really see that one, 18627U1, that's Ryder. License 6NP6131, that's 4N. Starts with a 4N, not a 6N. License 30330N2, 054XV handicap, 7E61267, 7TLW493, 5SQ, I can't really see that one, 5CCB826. That's amplification. License plate 7VZE053. License 16943M2. Amtrak crossing path as well, and the same coach vehicle that I mean, not exactly the same coach vehicle, I don't know that, but the same logo, the same vehicle that I captured, engaging in what is crossing a path, molestation, as the people of the state, with the people of the state. License 8XBK392. Their crossing path as I was walking north on Euclid Avenue. That is significant. That is, again, as I'm documenting identification of the entity, this is group stalking and terrorism, and that the entity is engaging in, and that is underway through the company Amtrak. 5BWD691. It is currently, by the way, 8:31 a.m. 7ROR769, 5YUS271, 8TGJ428, 624OHF, Arizona, 6NCM415, 7JOC932, and Omnitrans is here. I'll get that license plate when I get off. It's bus 1263. It's 8:32 a.m. 7KIP832, 4BPN 722, 77604D3, 6FPW896, 3544V, V5. No, you can scratch that one. I missed them. It is 8:35 a.m. You can scratch that one. LESGOGG or GOCG. That's a blue Tesla.
Welcome aboard. A reminder for our passengers, Omnitrans Bus.
8GQX211. RIA 909, 7ZTC 774, 5WMD 288. It's 8:38 a.m. We're at G Street and Euclid Avenue. This is the Blink Fitness Plaza, El Pescador, Mission Furniture, the Bank of America at 735 Euclid Avenue in Ontario, California. American Inn, which is at 755 Euclid Avenue. This is the location where I'm at. The monitor 7V37375. Again, that's the intersection I'm speaking to. My presence on Euclid Avenue. The radius spans beyond this street, where the entity is engaging what is surrounding me and monitoring with communication devices. 45017F1 8JJW085. JCON1. FM19850, 7DHR023, 7UXL922, 7YGA461.
Stop requested.
For WEE887. CB40J34 paper. It's 8:40 a.m. 60LT961, 8PPT313, 7DYJ981, 5SIJ192, 8MBC721, 407 MDV Oregon, 6Y84748, 5M71589, 8PER281, 2893M31, I believe. 8FZT246. 8NHZ811. 264X2, 25337T2, 8XKT167, 8KGJ469, 8EQX210, 7XLM766, 7LLC235, 16123S2, 8243. 82434G3. 64097Y2. That's United Rentals. 70KTO58 5VGG769.
requested. If possible, please use rear doors.
313. Um, 7H98157. FZT246, 6LRS170, 5SIJ192, CD03, 6S1 paper, 8HZD627, 8VZD797, 8EBG025, 8NJT426. The Arco at 193 South Euclid Avenue in Upland, California. There's a little taco Mexican restaurant adjacent. They're monitoring the Chevron. The David Cutting Insurance, which is adjacent to the Chevron at 159 Euclid Avenue, monitoring. Metrolink is audible activity. That's what that sound is while I'm on the train. Metrolink is going, excuse me, while I'm on the bus. Metrolink is proceeding eastbound. That's audible activity. And it's also crossing path. Any minions on the train of Metrolink are monitoring crossing path. And it's 8:45 a.m. as Metrolink is crossing path on the train tracks in Upland, California. KGS 973. 8NBF 6469, excuse me. 5WMD 455, crossing path again, 7PLL 940. And it's 8:46 a.m. I'm at 7-Eleven in Upland, California. All right, David, employee 2366, molesting with directed light. License 1399978 is the license plate, and that's bus 1263. And that's, again, directed light that's on the bus that I'm subject to, surrounded by, molested by, and then also off of the bus. This is entirely directed light. There's nothing that's occurring in anything, any sort of natural environment. Those are demons that surround. That's a demon driving the bus. And that's also the impermissible threat by that particular actor who's repeatedly monitoring and doing so as the people of the state as well. Again, that's David, employee 2366. Monitoring with this sex offender, 8SFW 064, 73208T, T as in Tom, T1, 73280T1, 7FHX 033. 8LBF 616, 7TCW 203. It's 8:47 a.m. (7NOD 865), and this is criminal surveillance at the 7-Eleven. It's 8:47 a.m. I'm on surveillance cameras entering the venue now. The minions are patrolling in and out, maintaining presence inside of the 7-Eleven. Those were 9ATC 688, 7FHX 033, 5SPC 797. 67436B3. And I did complete my purchase at 7-Eleven on surveillance cameras. It's 8:52 a.m. This is P.O.C. 76213K3, 8NGS 208, 6PJD 801, 6SMF 270, 6NGA 328. 8SW0. I can't really see the rest of them. How many trans is crossing path? That's David, bus 1263. It's crossing path again. 8UVZ 458. DDAVIDT. 6PSK 358. 8JIE 745. CA92P81 paper. 8JQM 564, 5PLZ 448, 6NHD 946, 6PJD 801, 6AKN 089, 7EKP 845. (7LVZ191), 5H. I can't really see that. Let's go. 9. I read them. They're group stalking. 9ATC 688. Crossing path again. Good Avenue. Five BHE 586, 8RRX 590. 7ZUC 586. Excuse me. 8ZBT 344. YPL 4836. That's a large truck. And I can't see the company name, but again, that's YP48836. 700, I can't really, 70008J3, I believe. This trucking company is
Scorpions Incorporated. License plate that begins with white P. Custom Catholic directed light as well. It's 8:56 a.m. 4ER1278 is a back license plate on the Scorpions Incorporated truck. Large commercial truck. 6VSG558. 8PZB613. Excuse me. Oh no, that's correct. 8XYR309. FB505 handicap. 18897W2. ATQR308. 9ANZ958. TYGRE6. 8KJX490. This is audible activity creation. Demon using a leaf blower. Group stock. 43125H2. YMCA 63677Y2. American Medical Response. 9AJB321. 6AJA761. 7GKT831. It's 8:57 a.m. Seven JJL 529 79640T2. And again, American Medical Response is vehicle 46103. I think I read that one already. 79640T2. I think I read that one. 8AMW446, 8XCN110, 8ZZU958, 7BTR839, 6TV, I can't see that one, 8DUE584, 55208, I can't see the rest of them. Two THLAB2, 8YMU050, excuse me, 8VMU050. One 558-343, that is Upland Unified School District. 5CQV930, 7KRR182. 8RNV194, I believe. 5YVK621, yeah. BUGL8Y, 8WAS647. 7PLM 964, 6GOS 902, 7CTA 702, 7PPH 204, 7SCR 401, 59917B1, 7KYM 701, I believe, 7JYY 689, 4PZV 843. 24425D1. Can't see that one. 8K80358. Yeah, I think that other one was in 7ZEA774. 8YRX598. 8HYT204. 69460F2. 1015283. 7KRF336, 3LCA188, 7YKM002. While these demons drive by, directed light is moving across the tree behind me. These are demons, as I've already fully, but I want you to know what these demons are doing, what the demon possessed do. A license BN54E88 paper, because they're going to be prosecuted for that as well. But there's going to be no mystery about the psychopaths that they are and the criminals that they are. 89050D1, 8NSD796, 4YDS786. Light moving across a tree behind me, that's a demon. That's a stalker. And that's going to be that's prosecution for what is a terrorist. This is conduct that's designed to terrorize somebody, to frighten you, to scare you while they're monitoring you. Okay? And doing so as a gang, entirely demented.
All right, that is terrorism. That's terrorism. License plate 6HVR4691302 48480E1 6UEN218 8HVR259 8XCM655. Oh, and that's Chaffee Joint Union High School with the 1302415. License 7NFY041, SoCal Gas 80497D1, 8UGL310, 46114D1, 5MPK388, 7MVY572, 6TUK266, 6MOJ743, Q5JLT79, 7HTZ097, 7Y50340, that's Toro Construction, 8T58039, 43937Z1, 7WSK559, 8YKF187, and it's currently 9:02 a.m. Student Transportation of America, 6NFV554, 6JJG212, 7BZM723, 8EWX169, 8AAM395, 8YUD513, 5HZM436, 6PXN702, 8HXG651. And it is currently 9:03 a.m. 8T19751, 5TTY553, 7YAK323, 8LGY558. License 75690H3, that's GMBI. This is a commercial vehicle parked right in front of the Upland City Hall, where the fake sun is right here over me at 9:04 a.m. Yeah, the logo is GM. They were group stalking on Euclid Avenue in Ontario as well, and a white pickup truck with the same logo on it. It says just GM. The license again 75690H3. California 0176269. Okay. California 0176269 and US.1076152. They are monitoring in relevant position. That's why the light source is here. There's nothing you're delivering. There's no leaf that you are blowing, where the entity is flashing direct light on the trees and on the buildings all around. These are demons that are monitoring together. And they're group stalking in what are ways that are supposed to be appropriated. They're just gardeners, or they're just delivery men. They're demons that are group stalking, and they're doing so inside of the building of the Upland City Hall. They're doing so in relevant position, so that's fully documented, and I captured literally the fake sun is over me. So there's nothing, in other words, that the entity is going to do around the target individual that's going to be any excuse from prosecution on behalf of the state that's stalking by helicopter and is monitoring via this Herman Miller certified dealer. It's 9:05 a.m. All right, you have the people of the state, the demon-possessed that are terrorists, stalking, molesting, terrorizing with directed light, stalking in the bathroom. And the light source is stationary over the roof of the Upland Public Library. This is state surveillance. This is the state, as I'm documenting, stalking by helicopter, that is stalking in the bathroom. It is 10:07 a.m., and this is the state facilitating venue of the Upland Public Library, and this is the P.O.C, where the entity is keeping engineered light inside of the venue for the duration of the day, amplifying audible activity. That's the sound of an elevator that the entity is sounding while this demon enters into the private space to engage in criminal monitoring. An obsessed stalker, and this obsession is occurring in the bathroom. This is terrorism. obsessive stalking conduct on behalf of the state. This is P.O.C. It is currently 10:08 a.m. Hello. Kristen, right? Yes. Or Kristen. Hi. Can I get a laptop, please?
Do you want a room?
If you have a study room available as well, yeah.
If I can get a card.
Sure. That's amplified audible activity. Okay. The employees are engaging in this door closure. This is amplified audible activity. It's noise and light. And they're also monitoring while this demon enters inside of the restroom. And so is this third party, well, actually this is a state actor that is at the circulation desk in relevant position, monitoring together inside of a bathroom. This is the sex offender. That is Elaine crossing path, and she's also monitoring inside of the bathroom as well. It is currently 10:09 a.m. This is P.O.C. The venue filled with directed light as though the sun is stationary over the roof of the Open Public Library, and that is sunlight appearing all over the staircase and all over the floors. This is state surveillance, and that's the sex offender. Again, that is monitoring the minions that are sitting engaging in surveillance. The Asian male, he's a sex offender. He's engaging in what is criminal surveillance on behalf of the state. Inside of a private space, genitalia exposed, private activity underway, ongoing invasion of privacy by an entity that is present on behalf of the government, that is stalking by helicopters. As I'm documenting, you're understanding what are the methods of ongoing stalking, conduct, and surveillance by that same exact entity that's underway. And this is where I remain at the Open Public Library, where the actual sun is not remaining over me while I am at the same exact time en route to Chino, California, remaining in Chino, California, showing you what is the light source that's remaining over my head, street for street and turn for turn, while at the same time the entity is engaging what is keeping what's the object that's supposed to appear as though this is the sun. This is capturing the demonic, and that's how you're witnessing what's the unnatural environment, the virtual impossibility that it's going to, the sun is doing both at the same time, moving in real time necessarily so to maintain a central presence over me while I am in transit. And then where I remain stationary in the city of Chino, inside of the building in Chino, and then also remaining stationary over the roof of the Open Public Library. In addition to that, remaining stationary over the roof of the Open Public Library for the duration of the day, okay? This is in every way capturing the demonic, and these are demons that are group stalking, and these are demons that are violent sex offenders, group stalking in and around the bathroom. These are violent sex offenders that are group stalking in and around the bathroom while monitoring documentation in concert with that state. That is, again, Elaine, who you see, monitoring with this Asian male. He's a group stalker engaging in surveillance, criminal surveillance, which is also occurring in the private space, to be prosecuted as a violent sex offender, the perpetual sex offender. And I captured that third party's image. This is conduct on behalf of the state of California, by the way, as well. Okay, so this is not the individualization of it. This is the government that stalked me by helicopter, and I'm documenting that same entity that is now stalking me in a bathroom, so understand that. And it is surrounded by what is the evidence of an entirely unnatural environment, which is the setting for federal group stalking and monitoring. In other words, these are the demon-possessed engaging in what is an entirely satanic criminal act, which is in violation of federal law. This is criminal monitoring. All right, they're monitoring with communication devices, and they're also engaging in what is demonic activity. And this is the impermissible threat. So you are talking about what is federal prison while they engage in obsessive stalking in a bathroom, terrorizing an American citizen who is documenting it, doing so on behalf of the government that's threatening your life, engaging in what is flying and stalking, flying over my head. You're not engaging in that and avoiding federal prison under any circumstances. So I want to be clear on that. It is currently 10:12 a.m. This is documentation of federal stalking by entity in the bathroom, which is a terrorizing threat by the entity, the people of the state and the state of California. And this is at state facility and venue at the Open Public Library, where the the sun with regard to what is a reference to the natural environment and scientific facts that surround the ways that the environment operates, the way the environment works. And it is under no circumstances possible that the sun is remaining over me while I am in transit to the city of Chino. And the sun is supposedly remaining directly over my head while I'm in that mode, in that transition, in movement, leaving from the city of Upland. That's patently ridiculous and impossible. And so even while the entity engages in that obsessive stalking conduct, that in and of itself, you're understanding what is terrorism. As you are subject to what is the unnatural environment, the government is terrorizing you. All right. In addition to what is monitoring your documentation, all manner of what is the posing of a threat. And this obsessed stalker, which you're witnessing that obsession, this is what I'm explaining. When the obsessed stalker is monitoring and group stalking at the museum via helicopter, you are witnessing their obsession by presence of this engineered light all over the place. They're engaging in what is conduct, facilitating criminal monitoring, following into a bathroom, doing so while the engineered light surrounds, while the fake sun remains over my head. These are obsessed stalkers. That's their obsession, and that's how they are engaging in no way concealing, which the people of the state sought to. The pattern of conduct is designed such that they're supposed to appear normal. There's nothing normal about them, nothing normal about the environment, nothing normal about their conduct. All right, and that's how you're witnessing that obsession. That's why engineered light and a fake sun is over the venue. It is currently 10:14 a.m., and that obsession occurring inside of a private space is a perpetual sex offense on behalf of the state. This is P.O.C. at the Upland Public Library. It's 10:14 a.m.
SoCal Sewer and Water, 00233C3, stalking in the path of light activity. 8COT126, 7BKW077, 7SRD675. Let's see, 3YJ2773, I believe. Can't really see that one. 8YJZ723. Excuse me. Correct that. That's an old Toyota Camry. 7LVJ754. 62165W1, 9AWB996, 8PLC126. And by the way, it is currently it was 5:58. It's currently 6:01 p.m. I exited the Upland Public Library, where the entity maintained the engineered light. And this is, again, the system is that you're not even aware that you're under the impression, because typically the average American is not paying attention to the environment that surrounds you, assuming that, again, just like I have, ignorant of it. And the impossible is what you're surrounded by, the environment. And the entity engaged in what is the impossible, keeping the light source directly over the address of 450 North Euclid Avenue, present in perfect alignment with me, and moving in alignment with me in the direction that I am going on Euclid Avenue, that is going south. This morning I came north. The entity aiming light all over the sidewalks, all over the street, as though the sun is still above Euclid Avenue, the street itself, and still remaining in perfect alignment with me, touching all over my face and body, as though that's sunlight that's still outside of the building of the Upland Public Library. Again, I entered as a matter of video documentation as well at 10 o'clock in the morning, showing you what is the placement of the light source directly over the roof, and the entity maintained this engineered light through what's supposed to be sunlight coming through the windows that are on the ceiling of the Upland Public Library, and that is absolutely impossible and asinine, as the sun is not a stationary object that would not remain physically present over the building for the duration of the day, as the documented light activity suggests. And it is also that which is not occurring while the entity is keeping, for example, suggesting that the sun is also remaining in Chino, California, specifically over the Chino Branch Library, the doors of the entryway, for the duration of the day. And then remaining over me as I leave that venue, there is at that position not occurring, that those two placements of that light source in its zenith over me is an impossibility, and it's also not going to result in what is sunlight in any way coming through what's supposed to be the roof, the ceiling of the Upland Public Library, while it is physically, the object itself is directly above my head in Chino, California. And that is the same analysis for every other place where I'm documenting this phenomenon. And it is capturing demonic activity. 6 feet QU069 is a demon that is stalking in that environment. 7YBT563, the same. All right, and this is at C Street and Euclid Avenue in Upland, California. It's 6:03 p.m. 7BHZ561. Group stalking with the minions that are on the sidewalk crossing path. Group stalking with the minions that are patrolling on Euclid Avenue crossing path. You can see this hefty minion. She's a large house, probably has several demons, and she's got her communication device in hand, right? Clearly doesn't exercise, but she's outside walking, group stalking right now. It is currently 6:04 p.m. and you'll see that still image, and she is stalking and maintaining presence behind me. And so the moment that I maintain stationary presence, you have again this behavioral pattern where a demon comes out of nowhere, and she immediately crosses path, doing so by walking in engineered light. This is the objective of the demon possessed. All right, and so, for example, while I'm sitting inside of the study rooms today, I took pictures of the minions that are sex offenders engaging in surveillance in the bathroom, group stalking inside of the venue, an ongoing molestation while the entity is touching me while aiming this light that you have to walk inside of the building. That's how the entity engages in what that sex offense is, aiming its engineered light inside of the venue for the duration of the day, and it's an unnatural environment. That is a touching by a government that's placed you under surveillance. It is the prosecution for it as the perpetual sex offender. While the entity is engaging in this, as I use my phone, in other words, you have what are minions that engage in immediate crossing of path conduct. License plate 7WWN510. And you'll see this while I'm seated in study room number 1. The bald-headed African, he's in study room number 2. As I take a picture of him, you immediately see what is an old man. I don't even know what his race is, perhaps Middle Eastern, I don't know, but he's very old, and he's even holding his hand out like an alien. He looks like a freak, and he is a freak. This is a demon, all right? This is a demon-possessed person. 8HFT305, and he's walking into the room. He's crossing path, and he does so immediately as I start to take a picture, and that's the demonic behavioral pattern, as I've shown you again, where it looks as though you're in the shade, and I'm showing you what is my shadow that's appearing and what is supposedly the shade. They are pacing around in engineered light. All right. So as I use my phone, immediately you have what it is, a demon that is appearing to cross path. This is the group stalking system, and it is for purposes of monitoring what I'm doing on my phone. And the entity is engaged in more than that. This is the sex offender when I'm not even in operation of my phone, engaging in the criminal elements of monitoring. All right, but it is also predatory, sexually motivated, entirely demented, occurring in the private space as well. The perpetual sex offender. 8RSJ624. The entity is engaging in what is pacing in this regard as I step out of the study room. And the moment that I take a picture, you'll see that this is in the evening. It's like around 4 o'clock in the afternoon where I'm taking these still images. And you're first of all going to pay attention to what is engineered light on the same exact staircase that it was this morning at 10 o'clock where I captured video as I walked into the library. All the entity is doing is just keeping light inside of the venue all day long. So you're going to pay attention to that, and you're going to pay attention to what is the pacing. You see a demon walking up the stairs. As I take a picture of him, a demon immediately, she looks like a young Asian girl. They're walking in bright light. This is engineered light aiming down into the staircase that they are pacing in. Crossing path is what this minion is doing as I'm walking out, the old man. And then this young, I'm assuming she's Asian, an Asian or a Latina female, dark brunette hair. She's rushing and running down the stairs, and they are pacing. You'll see one go up, one go down. They're pacing together, and she is engaging in what is hurrying up to cross path to create additional activity as I then take a picture of this old man walking upstairs. All right, this is speaking to what is stalking with activity. All right, in the same way that this overweight minion appears out of the blue beside me as I engage in a new activity, and that is standing still, following, walking. These minions are pacing around, and this is pacing around in the path in engineered light based on my operation of my phone. Okay, monitoring on my phone. Okay, stalking with light in the parking lot of 7-Eleven, 8GBD015, and molesting. Okay, it is currently 6:07 p.m. So I just wanted to break that down, and that's illustrated. The perpetual sex offender, that is the people of the state, engaged in surveillance today inside of the Upland Public Library, where the entity maintained the light source, and a grand departure from it being everywhere, anytime, ever, not even in the parking lot of Chino. The object itself remains over the address of Upland. And right now at where you hear amplified audible activity is where the fake sun is, and is where directed light is. That's also criminal summoning. And engaging in criminal summoning, 8VXC560, federal prison. And they're also sex offenders. Metro Link, by virtue of creating that audible activity, a sex offender that is molesting. All
All right. License plate 8DAY075. Group stalking in directed light and engaging in criminal summoning. Washing their car in directed light. License plate 7GBU961. Engaging in criminal summoning. Okay. And that is Metrolink engaging in what is facilitation. And that is a company being prosecuted as a sex offender. Metrolink being prosecuted for engaging in criminal summoning, which is the grounds of federal prison. All right, so that is the pattern of conduct, and no company, no third party, no government actor is going to be exempt from that, threatening the life of an American citizen. And the government is doing it through all the people that surround. The entities sounding sirens, that's a method of intimidation and harassment while documenting. All right, they're monitoring, they're facilitating monitoring, 5FVT413. And this is at 7-Eleven as well. They're inside of the store molesting and monitoring. It is currently 6:09 p.m. All right, capturing group stalking inside of the 7-Eleven. This is literally a gang of thirsty minions. The demon-possessed filling the 7-Eleven. They're all engaging in criminal summoning. And they are all engaging in what is a demonic orgy while the entity has this entirely creepy, terrorizing act of filling the venue with directed light while each demon walks in. And the entity is engaging in molesting me while I open the door. You're talking about what is an act of the demonic, what is impossible light activity that's never naturally occurring in the first place. And so you're talking about while the minion, as I'm documenting, taking pictures, refraining from that directed light conduct. You can still see stationary directed light aiming in an impossible manner, never occurring, and an ongoing admission as to stalking with light by virtue of its presence. But you're talking about the dynamic light that's occurring when they're opening and closing the door. When I open and close the door, you have it occurring while Amazon Prime enters. Here we go. Alrighty, and I capture that right now. That is Amazon Prime, the sex offender, at 6:15 p.m. on surveillance cameras, monitoring with the company, again, 7-Eleven. You're understanding how the people of the state are acting under company names, engaging in the state surveillance system is one. Amazon Prime touching on my person while engaging in what is a demonic act, impossible light activity with ongoing knowledge of its documented criminal activity. This is intentional conduct by Amazon Prime. Alrighty. Want to make sure I get a close-up images of this demon, and this is the violent sex offender that is heavily stalking using their planes, their demon-possessed employees, and a sex offender that wants to engage in touching while you document it. All right, you prosecute for that. Those kind of sex offenders actually belong in federal prison, and so all I'm doing is prescribing based on the very criminal conduct that they're engaging in. This is speaking to the pattern of conduct that the entity is engaging in as one, by the way. On behalf of the state that stalks by helicopter, the demon-possessed entity acts via Amazon Prime. If you did not know already, I've heavily documented them. They are the obsessed stalker. This is P.O.C. at 6:16 p.m. All right, this demon-possessed employee, he's pacing with a broom in his hand. Excuse me, minion. So I'm going to be clear, he's group stalking with just holding a broom in his hand as a prop. All right, this demon is pacing. This demon is pacing while minions are pacing in and out of the entryway. And he's also pacing while directed light is spread across inside of the venue, across the counter, through the aisles, at the back where the fountain drinks are, and as Amazon Prime engaged in molesting my person while they walk in and out of the entryway. All right, that's pacing. That's a demon, and holding a broom is nothing but a prop. Okay, that's the method of trying to appropriate entirely demented conduct, where all they're doing is running back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, trying to do so while looking like they're doing something. That's the demon's objective. It's entirely sick conduct, and it's occurring in an entirely abnormal and unnatural environment. And it is terrorism while a bunch of freaks are stalking you and monitoring you like that. This is prosecution for terrorism. This is P.O.C. It's 6:18 p.m. Okay, I'm finally ready.
All right, good now?
I think so, yeah. You guys don't have no more of those, Oh, wait. Sorry, let me just see if you have the, you don't have one. Okay. I'll just try this. They're probably nasty, but whatever. Yes.
All right, do you have the 7-Eleven rewards or no?
No. What?
Go for it.
Oh, how much did you charge for the ice? Oh, 25
25
cents.
cents. Because it's for the cup.
I know, I'm not tripping. I just want to make sure you're not charging like $2 because I'm not going to pay $2 for ice.
No, yeah.
Thank you.
No, that makes me so mad when people do that.
Yeah,
I'm like, really?
Yeah, not that deep. You just keep your eye. Okay, thank
Yeah,
you.
good night. Or day.
Yeah, you too. Have a good one. Alrighty, it is 6:20 p.m. The minion, this is the African American male, he's got on like a sailor hat, directed light beside his vehicle as I'm walking outside. They're captured in still images. License, first of all, I don't know if I read this one already, but 8 DAY 075, and they're engaged in surveillance in the back, outside of the Stater Brothers, outside of the 7-Eleven, 8SWG 818, and this sex offender is monitoring with Amazon Prime. All right, so as I'm documenting this minion, he walks outside. There is no movement of dynamic directed light swiping across and reaching me at the opposite end of the 7-Eleven. It's demonic activity. That's never normal light activity happening anyway. Amazon Prime immediately follows in, again, in real-time knowledge of the fact that I'm documenting that. That's just a sicko that wants to engage in what is, first of all, hostile as I'm breaking down their demonic conduct. And second of all, to engage in touching. 8SWG 818 is the vehicle that African-American drove in. That does not mean it's his car. These are psychopaths who are monitoring documentation. Regardless, not only will they be found with regard to a prosecution, what they want to represent as their being their identification will also be prosecuted. Okay, so I want to point that out. It's 6:21 p.m. License CC79H69. This is a paper plate, and this is a minion parking in directed light. And it is 6:21 p.m. It is currently, like I stated, 6:21 p.m. So I'm capturing what is the pattern of conduct. Again, as I'm coming from Upland, California yesterday as I remain in Chino. And so at 5:56 p.m. I'm at the bus stop in Chino, California, at the same Chino Transit Center where I was located at 8:57 a.m. as I reminded with a visual. So you can look at the video where I'm at that same exact Chino Transit at that same exact street at 8:57 in the morning where I was yesterday evening at 5:56 p.m. And I get on the bus, and the bus driver, this demon that's monitoring me with the people of the state, leaves late. Okay, we leave at 6:04 p.m. 7HBG 153, BAKERS 5. I'm documenting on video the maintenance of the light source, which is not possibly the sun, as I'm coming from Chino, California, at College Park Avenue, 7SHS 182 at College Park Avenue and Central Avenue, 8M25423. The entity is keeping the fake sun at those intersections at the Ruben S.I.I.S Park as I'm on Route 83. And yet what you have today is as I leave the venue of the Upland Public Library where the entity maintained a light source not coming from any direction where it's at the same time anywhere over the Chino Transit Center, the Chino Branch Library. All right, 45813. C2, or at any location where Amazon Prime is engaging in what is anything normal, as supposedly sunlight is touching on the front portion of my whole body, touching on my breast, touching on my legs, touching on my thighs with what is supposedly sunlight. There's no vantage point where this is coexisting and where that sunlight that's ever going to occur, let alone occur while the sun is remaining over me while I'm en route coming from Chino, California on Route 83 at this same time yesterday. All right, so I want to be clear, that is the malice of the entity that is Amazon Prime, a very vicious and highly demented company. This represents the people of the state, 8SDR683, 5YLT016, 7LNJ341, 8GDR875, and again you have what is nothing other than a minion entering in to engage in what is a molestation with real-time knowledge of what I'm documenting about their demonic conduct, and doing so while representing themselves as Amazon Prime, 8MAG925, 9ACC614. This does not make an actual Amazon Prime employee. They're monitoring documentation. Amazon Prime is going to be prosecuted for it though. 8UCM432, 6VNP252, 8HEZ782, 7VHA711, 6VPL174, 6MLX400, IMGRMPS. And that's the same with regard to the maintenance of engineered light, because that's exactly what it is. It's not possibly sunlight, while I remain inside en route to the Chino Branch Library yesterday. Nowhere near, and no gymnastics is occurring where sunlight is remaining at any point while it is mutually impossible that the light source is hanging directly over my head and incentive at the entryway of the Chino Branch Library, through the window over my head at the Chino Branch Library, remaining over me as I walk outside of that venue and go to the Chino Transit Center and get on the bus, and also remaining over the roof of the Upland Public Library today. 8PJD016, such that sunlight is being aimed while the sun is directly over the roof of the Upland Public Library in Upland, California at 450 North Euclid Avenue. All right, and that's before 10 o'clock in the morning. 10 o'clock in the morning, I was already on Route 83, showing you in video, in real time, the movement of that light source, which is the very evidence of what is not over the Upland Public Library, as you see that video captured at 10 o'clock yesterday. But this is the evidence that the sex offender, Amazon Prime, the people of the state, MetroLink, 7-Eleven engage in while they are monitoring documentation. That's an impermissible threat. That's federal prison. This minion is 8VSS 818. Again, that's 8VSS 818, federal prison. They're engaging in a sex offense and impermissible threat. That's harassment by an entity engaging in what is amplified audible activity while you're stalking and listening in real time to your criminal activity being documented. The American citizen that is documenting what is ongoing criminal activity, monitoring by the government is revealing what shall be federal prison. All right, and that's exactly what Amazon Prime accomplishes while they engage in what is a sex offense inside of 7-Eleven. 8UWE030, CC92B43, 8HTW293, 6PKE083, 5XYH351. And I just want to be clear. Let me be very vivid in the way I articulate this. This is literally Satan using a person. 5P23900, 8HEX400. That is what's wrong with this person that's wearing a method of identifying them, an Amazon Prime vest. This is literally Satan incarnate, walking through using a person who is engaging in absolute terrorism. Okay, attacking with what is directed light while you're doing what's supposedly just walking through a door. All right, in an environment that's absolutely terrorizing in and of itself. They're in a cartoon environment. So I want to be clear on that. 8SZY705, that's the conduct with the directed light. And if you've forgotten what directed light is, it's very real, and I continuously document it. Look at the video when you're looking at the demons that are group stalking on the bus of Omnitrans. And you see what is rapid light at the roof of the bus, 6183882, where I am, again, en route to this... on Route 83, coming from an entirely opposite direction, which is Chino, California. And you can see this impulsive light activity as it is traveling at a rapid speed at the top of the buses as I'm pointing out my location and the maintenance of the fake sun and the fact that I documented that location, fake sun, over me early in the morning versus yesterday when I was coming back toward Ontario in the evening. All right, as I point out this conduct the entity engages in, as I documented inside a Chino Branch Library, and the entity was touching me with flashing light as I showed you through the window, that's the demon that is Amazon Prime. That's absolutely terrorizing conduct. That's exactly what that demon engaged in, with that intent to do so, with real-time knowledge of exactly what I was documenting about the African-American, who intentionally also waits for me to exit the 7-Eleven so that I can see him drive away in the black Mercedes SUV. All right, this is an entity that's engaging in what is criminal conduct on behalf of the state. You're talking about what is a defeated purpose with regard to that. You are going to federal prison. They're engaging in criminal conduct. There is the criminal activity that he's engaging in with Amazon Prime, all of them, 7-Eleven, the company, the minions working at 7-Eleven, the minions on surveillance camera engaging in business with 7-Eleven in order to engage in stalking with the state, 42311J3, 7WYS940, and the minion that is, again, identified by a company named MetroLink, creating ongoing amplified audible activity, facilitation, while the government is maintaining presence. Understand what is going on, again, big picture. The entity, while I'm sitting inside of the Chino Branch Library, and at 4:05 p.m., these demons who are crossing path right now, 8UQD118, 8JUU536, 8NAP034, while I'm inside of the 7-Eleven, crossing path conduct is the obsessed demon-possessed group stalker, Amazon Prime, a company acting via a demon-possessed individual who is stalking and terrorizing with the instrument of criminal monitoring, which is directed light, which is an act of a demon-possessed person who is terrorizing another, placing them under surveillance with knowledge of the fact that you are documenting. That's what Amazon Prime engaged in, and this is what Amazon Prime facilitated. And this is the same exact this is another iteration of the same exact conduct. While I'm inside of the Chino Branch Library at 4:05 p.m. and you see the flashing of light that's occurring through what is a small window across the room from me, and it's occurring while the people of the state, the same demon-possessed people of the state that I'm documenting by pictures that are documented on surveillance camera, that I'm documenting by license plate, who are group stalking inside of a small 7-Eleven store because that's how obsessed they are. All right? This is how 8UGC179. This is how much of a psychopath
stalker the entity is, and you also witness that through the light conduct. And the entity engages in this very conduct. What did I tell you in that video at 4:05 yesterday? The more infuriated Satan becomes, the more Satan engages in what is this accosting with directed light. All right, 7VNN246, I believe. And that's exactly what Satan is doing through this minion who I captured many close-up images of wearing an Amazon Prime vest. That's the identification of the people of the state. The people of the state utilize company vehicles, use what are literally the demon-possessed, who are doing nothing other than wearing a logo, which is, when you pay attention to what's the big picture, I mean, you're going to prosecute civilly and criminally, but with regard to a big picture and a satanic targeting system, the company that you're utilizing, you're still present in the same environment, engaging in what is absolutely the same criminal conduct, and it does not make a difference that it's called Amazon Prime. But that's exactly what it is. It makes a difference with regard to revealing what Amazon Prime is about, what Amazon Prime is into. All right, an Asian male, driving license 8ZAD175. And you have the entity engaging in what is this conduct while I'm inside of the 7-Eleven. All right, as I'm pouring out details about their demonic conduct, this directed light flashing while they're opening and closing a door. And that's supposed to be that is supposedly their form. It's asinine because sunlight does not do that. But like I said, this is their form. That's supposedly sunlight, and that's the sun. That's the concession. Okay, because sunlight is not reaching into the depths of the 7-Eleven through the back of the aisles, and also engaged in what is dynamic movement, reaching into the back of the store in an opposite direction while you open and close the door. And then also you have what is when one demon does it and I'm documenting it, it doesn't occur, versus when I'm not recording and it does occur. And as I point out that inconsistency, as I point out the intent, as I point out that demonic conduct, Amazon Prime intentionally comes in with knowledge of that. Understand, this is Satan that's infuriated. Okay, 78EM022. Monitoring with a minor child in the vehicle. That's a Latino male and female. 8SCZ580. And with regard to what is that directed light conduct, I just documented it. It remains ongoing documentation of the demon possession, which is terrorism by this entity that's engaging in surveillance. That's exactly what Amazon Prime engaged in. So with regard to what it is that I'm referencing, again, you can look at my video from the timestamp is 4:06. Well, it would be 16:06, which was yesterday, May 12th, 2022. Today's May 13th. And that's at 4:06 p.m. And you have what is the people of the state that are group stalking around the Chino Branch Library, and these are demons. This is the work of Satan while you see that flashing directed light. This is the work of Satan while Amazon Prime, a puppet of Satan, wearing nothing other than an Amazon Prime vest, all right, the same condition as the rest of these demons who are pacing around with abnormally loud sounds in abnormal light in an abnormal environment. They're all a bunch of weirdos under what is a cartoon environment stalking me, okay? License plate 7XXX891, and that's exactly what I'm referencing. If you look at that video, also when I'm on Route 83 yesterday, and I'm capturing video at 6:10 p.m. and I'm capturing video at 6:19 p.m. and you're going to see the directed light at the top of the bus, rapid directed light. It's entirely satanic what you're looking at, and the people of the state are engaging in this terrorism while they sit on the bus and conducting. Satan is sitting, looking away from me while it's engaging in that terrorizing conduct. This is what Amazon Prime does. This is Satan walking in, engaging in terrorism, engaging in a sex offense, touching me. Satan is touching, violating my person while you're stalking and listening to every word that I'm documenting about you, and you come in and sexually offend. That's what Satan is doing. And it's called Amazon Prime. All right, that's 7-Eleven, that's Amazon Prime, that's the people of the state, all of those that I documented by images as well. And I just want to point out this African American, he walks out, Amazon Prime walks in, 89227N2. He's in that license plate that I recited. He is a demon engaging in surveillance in the parking lot and intentionally waits for me to identify that vehicle. That's fine, and that's exactly what I did. But I want to be clear, this is conduct on behalf of the entire entity. So you don't win anything, I'll tell you that, by being documented. 70HT449, CC49K70 paper. But I want to point those details out. This is an entity that acts with impunity, and all of that is grounds of federal prison. I'm talking about the company Metrolink. There's no sense of anonymity. No company is hiding behind any sense of avoiding justice at all. 6ZAE477, and the entity is sounding sirens. The San Bernardino County Fire Department, the Upland Police Department, 33413L3, and again, the Demons of American Medical Response, heavily engaged in group stalking, sounding sirens. Those are demons stalking with audible activity, 8UMP423, and it is massive facilitation. Now, whether you are engaging in what is stalking by providing the audible activity and doing so while the people of the state are the demons who you are seeing, who you see before you, while the entity remains in the background sounding sirens, indicating ongoing stalking presence. It is equally terrorizing conduct, it's equally facilitation, it's equally unlawful, it's equally criminal summoning, and those that you see are those that are engaging in criminal summoning, and they go to federal prison all the same. 8WZ and 830, and that includes Amazon Prime, that includes the company Metrolink, that is also engaging in what is relevant positioning, audible activity, and light activity creation. In addition to what is the African American male who wanted to be sighted so bad, I took close-up images of him. He's crossing path in directed light. He's engaged in surveillance in the parking lot. He's engaged in criminal summoning. He's engaged in an ongoing sex offense that I'm subject to while I'm inside of the store, and also while demons, including Amazon Prime, are touching my body with impossible light activity. All right, license 7AUD656, all under what is not possibly the sun, but you do see a light object that's speaking to what is the demon possession of all of them, terrorism, 6WZZ006. And again, because I remain in Chino on a bus in Chino, California, that is leaving the Chino Transit Center at 6:03 p.m. and I'm still en route, nowhere near Upland, California. But yet you have what is, and as I captured on still images, the light object itself, as I'm standing on the property of the 7-Eleven, and also the light activity inside of the 7-Eleven, impossible light activity, and the fake sun. 7SEC096, 8GVC112, 7ERM327, HA48915, 7FNY654, 74746W1, 8FEFF. Oh, I can't really see that. You can scratch that one. K, this is Erickson, K123420. That's Erickson, the company. They're a sex offender. They're monitoring. 8YYJ523. They are part of the same ongoing accosting with directed light, sexual violence with directed light, touching on your body, touching on any area, on your genitalia, on your breast area where no minion would have any permission to touch with their hands either. A demon touching with directed light is equally violent and terrorizing. It's demented. License 8U62362. And it is intended to be so. And you're going to prosecute based on that criminal intent. 8SLR447. 8PJF036. And again, as I'm documenting the sexual violence, the terrorism that the people of the state, including actors such as Amazon Prime, you're talking about what is, again, upon prosecution, the threat to the public that the people of the state are. 7YNN963. The people of the state, as I'm documenting, the people of the state as I'm documenting it through actors such as this demon representing the company Amazon Prime. You're talking about a prosecution that would remove such a threat from the public, the inability to have such a position and threaten the public like that. 7SVN628, and that's necessary as a matter of justice. All right, that's lawlessness, sexual violence, absolute terrorism, and criminal conduct. 8TNU032, that a company, all right, is engaging in on behalf of the state. 7XO1521, and engaging in what is literally the conduct of a psychopath that is just let loose, all right, to engage in that. Walking into a 7-Eleven, engaging in that violation, completing a purchase, and walking out. 8KBY649. No, that this is speaking to what shall be no more. Okay, and so you're talking about engaging in it in plain sight, acting with impunity. You go to federal prison for that. And with regard to that impunity, it is noted, because it's relevant to how long you're sitting in a cage, and what shall be with regard to the criminal record that you necessarily need in order to make sure that that sort of threat, the public is protected from that sort of a violent sex offender, that sort of a lawless criminal who acts with impunity, as though you are immune. You're not immune, and you're nothing other than what is an infuriated actor. All right, and so rather, since the entity's response is anger and more criminal conduct, more sexual violence, more targeting conduct on behalf of a government, you're talking about what is confronting that criminal activity, that criminal attitude. 8PFR265, and that's placing them in cages. That is removing them from the ability to 8ZAX861, removing them from the ability to be amongst the public in that regard. Delivering mail, being outside. No. You're literally a psychopath. AP25600, and that's the system of federal group stalking and monitoring. And the entity's conduct, the criminal system is such that you would be engaging in terrorizing an American citizen, and the ordinary target individual has no way to enforce their rights or even prove what they're subject to. While a psychopath, a whole psychopath that is even working on the job, walking into whatever location or being around whatever location because they are stalking you. Okay, not focused on some job, not focused on what the business of that company, focused on stalking you in an entirely terrorizing environment. All right, while they are engaging in entirely demented conduct. 7EQM964 with real-time knowledge of the fact that you are 8WBJ086 and 8RZY017 with real-time knowledge of the fact that the target individual is either documenting it or is perplexed and terrorized, horrified by it, which is let me be clear, this is the motivation, this is the intent, this is the goal, the objective by a demon-possessed entity. All right, you're talking about what is a sicko that derives pleasure from a directed light reaching across the room while you're walking into that room. This is Satan. This is a sicko wearing an Amazon Prime vest. All right, and you have a lot of, let me be clear, the people of the state are going to federal prison. I'll just keep it at that. Amazon Prime likes to engage in terrorism with its planes. Amazon Prime likes to engage in terrorism with its demon-possessed employees in that exact manner. 8CJU643, and they shall answer for that civilly and criminally. BF52N10, 8VOZ703, 8VMY764. And while Amazon Prime is nothing other than a template as to what is wrong with the people of the state, they are one entity acting together. 4PHA363. Okay, Joy, Kristen, you have the 4NKU739. You have the entity acting via 7KTW674. The entity acting via Elaine. All right, you have a bunch of these demon-possessed minions engaging in surveillance, sitting inside of the venue, U544XO, sitting inside of the venue of the Upland Public Library all day long, where the entity is just aiming laser light inside of that venue. Freaks engage in what is that sort of conduct, sitting around stalking all day long, just alternating faces. They're maintaining presence on behalf of that government that's stalking me all night by helicopter, stalking me day and night by helicopter. They are engaging in presence they're literally on a shift, just alternating faces. It's one deliberate act, and it's entirely sick. That entity is the same exact entity that Amazon Prime represents. They are not different. They are referred to as the people of the state, and they will be prosecuted for that conduct. The entity was engaging in a sex offense all day long at the Upland Public Library. It's not different. And so I want to be clear on that. But also understand, Satan itself, 5JAT651, and what is so unfortunate, 8UPY318. It's not unfortunate because it's necessary. It's great with regard to justice. It's great with regard to exposure of truth. But this is unfortunate with regard to what is the face of your company. 8WLB839, group stalking with directed light across third-party facilitating venue Hoff Orthodontics, and they are heavily documented as well. All of their employees are identified by name, which I uploaded onto the Google Drive on the day that these very demons were engaging in the same conduct, directed light across 195 Euclid Avenue. 7MPA847. That conduct, just like you saw on C&S Liquor in Chino, California, while the fake sun was over me, nowhere in Upland, California. All right, that was at around 10:26. I was arriving at the at the Chino Transit Center, where I captured video at 10:35 in the morning. Whereas today, the entity kept the fake sun at 10 a.m. until my exit at around 5:58 p.m. Well, yesterday, when I'm not at the Upland Public Library, and what's not occurring at the same time is the sun being over me, over my head at the Chino Transit Center at 10:30 in the morning. But that's nonetheless what the entity engaged in. And so, like I said, Amazon Prime is engaging in what is criminal activity, sexual violence, the conduct of the perpetual sex offender on behalf of the entity. The entirety of that entity shall be prosecuted for what I am documenting in real time on this podcast. All right, and that's exactly what Amazon Prime, understand, the entity is engaging in while I'm documenting that sex offender while I sit inside of the Upland Public Library. And why? Because they are group stalking on behalf of the state of California. 8WEW050 32833783, and that's why the entity is stalking by helicopter very heavily, following everywhere that I go. 5DGD098, and that's why you see close-up images of these demons engaging in what is absolutely sick conduct, surveillance of one person altogether. That's the conduct of Satan. Okay, that's the same conduct of Satan that likes to reach out across the room and somehow light manifesting and touching all over your person, reaching onto the tops and moving rapidly across vehicles that I'm sitting on, such as the Omnitrans public transportation, their buses. Impossible light. Directed light touching me while I'm sitting on the bus. Directed light reaching out and touching me while I'm off of the bus.
All right, the entity keeping a fake sun over me while I'm en route on those buses. But then that's not the case when I'm sitting inside of the building, such as up in public library all day long. All right, it's one entity. All right, and they are a sex offender monitoring while my panties are down. That's what Amazon Prime is engaging in. All right, that's what they're documented as engaging in. And they're monitoring while they're touching with this directed light for purposes of not only demonstrating, communicating hostility as the demon-possessed entity that they are, but also to monitor with communication devices. This engineered light is instrumental to that. All right, this demon, license 73739K2, monitoring at Hoff Orthodontics, BU69Z28, paper 8WBR639. And Hoff Orthodontics is, again, directed light across the venue is the identification of a facilitating venue. It's not occurring where monitoring is not occurring. They're monitoring together. 7HDK545. 5X35769, 8JHG993, 7RNE450, 7YWU903, 8JAY490, 8MHX796, 7ANR533, 24936. I can't really see that one. That's XPO Logistics. And Hoff Orthodontics, like I stated, the employees' names, since they so generously provided it on their website, very easily to identify them. They are documented engaging in group stalking in their parking lot as I'm walking on the sidewalk. I documented that before. This is that venue. They are indeed monitoring. That is also the case even if I hadn't documented those minions, group stalking, engaging in surveillance in that parking lot while the fake sun is over me and I'm walking on this street in the morning coming from Ontario. I documented that this year. They are also engaged in the pattern of conduct, which is, again, the same exact P.O.C. while the fake sun is over, while directed light is present, while directed light is swiping across your venue. You are indeed a demon-possessed entity and you're monitoring together and you're going to be prosecuted accordingly. But like I said, I also documented them. And all of their names, the employees of the minions that are at third-party facilitating venue, Hoff Orthodontics, where directed light is in an impossible manner. That's what directed light is, impossible light activity, the mark of demon possession, the identification of the criminal system underway. The psychopaths that are surrounding you, they're not just driving by. This is group stalking. And that's why Hoff Orthodontics, which I documented and I published onto my website, all of those minions' names as they published it on the internet. All right, that's not very wise when you're engaging in what is criminal surveillance in the state of California. It's very easy to document. License AEHD004. Not that you need it. You don't need it because when you prosecute who you are, where you're located, you will be found. I'll just put it that way, and it will be published, a matter of public information, what you are, what you were doing, and how you were doing it. All right, and informative with regard to how anybody else would repeat that. But I want to be clear, my dual purpose, as I set out from the beginning, to identify and specifically break down the demon-possessed population, the conduct, the personality of Satan, the identification of Satan, which is through the environment, and also the people of the state, the demon-possessed, such as Amazon Prime employees, 8JKW334. All right, and I want to be clear, Satan is a very violent sex offender, 8MLM103, and that term sex offender has a legal definition. And with regard to the demonic activity that Satan practices amongst its minions, that is legally defined as what is sexual violence. Satan is, under the law, a very violent sex offender, okay? The most threatening type of sex offender. And so I want to be clear with regard to what this is. This is serving for what is not only identification of a demon-possessed population, creating what is a familiarity with what is the reality to your everyday life, the reality of what is Satan, the demon-possessed, or you want to refer to it as darkness, or you want to refer to it as literally nothing other than the scientific impossibility of the environment and the conduct of those in that environment. We're talking the same. We're talking about the same thing. 8FKP329, the demon-possessed engaging in the conduct with directed light, they're demons. All right, the demon-possessed environment amongst directed light, amplified audible activity, under what is not possibly the natural environment, a fake sun, we're talking about the same thing, the demon-possessed. All right, the demon-possessed maintain presence in that environment, 8UMA575. And as you will see, when you're looking at that, the conclusion is like, well, wow, that's a lot of people. Exactly. There are more than there are not. All right, you're talking about what is a very heavy population, and you're talking about what is very, very common. And with regard to everyday life, and you might classify people based on those who are religious, those who, may go to church or go to, the mosque, whatever you believe in. This is superficial. All of this is superficial. And I want to be clear, Satan is
amongst all of them, okay? And it has nothing to do with your race, has nothing to do with linguistics, it has nothing to do with heritage, it has nothing to do with your family background, it has nothing to do with how often you go to church, or how often you go to what is mass, or how often you go to the mosque, or whatever it is, or however you go to your little Bible study, whatever it is that you want to claim with regard to what's different from someone because they're religious versus they're not. It has nothing to do. Let me tell you something. Satan's minions are religious. Okay, so like I said, get beyond that. As I'm showing you, Satan's minions are working for Amazon Prime. 6EOJ729. This is demonic activity, and you're talking about what is a very heavy presence in a way that you have perhaps you are unaware of, because you're talking about what is present through the environment. Well, the environment is telling you that every single last person, everyone, all of them, okay? And that is the precise demonic formula for identification. And with regard to those who have an ear, with regard to knowledge that is being extended to you, that is exactly what it is. 7VDB256, 7TCC427. When I go to what is a neighborhood market, and you have what is every single last one of them engaging in the same identical conduct, what is an impossible occurrence, light is not ricocheting, sweeping across the floor, engaging in what is like firework light, like Star Trek light activity while you're just entering inside of the door, all of them are demons. Every single last one of them, all of them. All right. And when you are talking about an environment where you go to the neighborhood market, when you are on public transportation, when you are going to what are different cities, and this is the conduct, I'm showing you this on the bus, Omnitrans, that's public transportation. So you're talking about what are strangers that surround in traffic on the bus, driving the bus, in the buildings around. And what are you looking at? Directed light across the buildings outside of the bus while I'm showing you the fake sun over me. Directed light on the bus. All right, directed light while demons are getting on and off the bus. It is everyone, all of them. All right, and they are not just present in a demonic environment, they are engaging in what is demonic conduct. It's not separate while they're getting on the bus and directed light is occurring. That's a demon. They are directly engaged in that. That is the work of Satan. It is not an overstatement. It's not some unsubstantiated generalization. It is the reality. 2314969. That's right. It is the reality, and that reality is evidenced by what is that demonic environment and that demonic conduct. When you have what is a company such as Amazon Prime walking into the neighborhood market and molesting, accosting you with what is an impossible occurrence, some impossible manifestation of what's supposed to be light. And with regard to your knowledge as to what is not possibly the sun at the same address where it's present over you at 8:50 in the morning, okay, it's 6 o'clock in the evening. It's everybody. It's everyone, okay? This is the work of Satan, and these are the minions of Satan. 8YJZ678, okay? A middle-aged Asian woman, a puppet of Satan. The African-American male wearing the sailor hat at the 7-Eleven, okay? Black as night, a puppet of Satan. It has nothing to do with race. It has nothing to do with the zip code. You can go up to Victoria Gardens. You can go to Chino. You can go to downtown San Bernardino off of Waterman. Okay, and that's just a reference to what is the quote unquote the hood. All right. So I just want to be clear. It has nothing to do with that. And it is the identification of what is a massive understanding of the demon-possessed population. It is every single last one of them. That's why when I'm showing you video of the fake sun over me and I'm standing outside, what are you looking at? I'm pointing out directed light. That's not reflection of light. I'm showing you at the same time when I'm on the in a different county. I'm in Los Angeles County while I'm standing on the street outside showing you what is the fake sun over my head. And what are you looking at all around, moving all over the buildings and all over the trees and all over and all my person. It's directed light. It is nothing that is normal, that is abnormal. It's never happening naturally. It's never, under any circumstances, is light engaging in that conduct. Ever. It's not ricocheting off of your car. It's not shooting horizontally through your window. It's not, they don't have some sort of light weapons that they're shooting. They're present in the path, and you're looking at the work of Satan. You're looking at puppets of Satan. And it is, as I told you, learn how to follow directions, because you are being given what is information that someone is in need to be armed with. And like I've showed you, like I've documented, and based on as the way I'm going to prosecute Satan, this is also for your informational purposes. Every single last one of them. While they engage in this criminal conduct, let me be clear, they are engaging in targeting me, and while I prosecute them, I'm also exposing it. Satan is necessarily exposed for such a time as this. It needs to be known. And that's exactly what you're witnessing as I'm documenting the pattern of conduct. And it is every single last one of them by virtue of the criminal act that I'm subject to. I'm sleeping outside. Why do you think an entity is stalking me by helicopter? Okay? Because that's exactly what the entity is doing. And doing so while you're looking at the abnormal light activity. That's entirely abnormal, period, that an entity would be using helicopters to pursue me. Why are you even doing that? Do you think it's because I'm lying? Because I'm exaggerating? Because I'm making it up? No, just like I wasn't making it up, and I don't have to make up fantastic stories like that. I don't even know what sort of freak would do that. But based on the minions that are the people of the state that are monitoring, there are people that just want to make it up just to make it up. But that's not me. I have a life. Okay, I went about my education, minding my business. The people of the state were not minding theirs. 8NZT347, and that's why they're being prosecuted and exposed now. Okay, I'm not one of those people, and I don't have to, and I never had time for those types of games in my life, okay, or in my circle, period. So in the same way, I haven't lied, and I don't need to lie about anything. Everything that I have alleged, furthermore, everything that I have alleged, I have evidence with ongoing objective documentation. Everything that I'm saying is happening is a matter of documentation. All right, because as a practitioner, in the law, practicing law, I know it's not about what you know. It's not about what I discern. It's about what you can prove. All right. And that goes with regard to revealing what is demonic and what is, again, that's with regard to the demonic. What are we going to talk about in court? We're going to talk about what is science, the scientific facts. What's an impossible occurrence? This directed light conduct. That's what we're going to talk about in court. All right. That's what is a matter of irrefutable evidence. All right, you cannot in any way reduce that evidence, the level of that evidence. And guess what? It's on the public buses. It's on the streets when I'm standing on the sidewalk, public property, just standing outside. It's in the neighborhood Starbucks. Starbucks is everywhere. Guess what? They're group stalking Starbucks. If it's happening on some random Starbucks where I'm located, it's happening in a random Starbucks when I just get on a bus and go to Pomona, California to a Starbucks I've never been to. Guess what? It's happening everywhere. And what's happening everywhere? The demon-possessed are group stalking everywhere that I go. That's specifically what's going on. And while they're group stalking, it is the knowledge that you now have that Satan is very, very much present. In the environment is how you know it, and via the people of the state, how you know it. Demons who want to touch you with engineered light while they're monitoring you, stalking you. And they're stalking with the state that follows you around with helicopters. Stalking with minions who sound sirens. These are hallmarks of that P.O.C. That is what companies such as Amazon Prime are engaged in, are facilitating, and they are revealing their own condition as they do so. Not very good for business, okay? It's not the best commercial whatsoever. And Amazon Prime is nothing other than a template. This is what's wrong with the entirety of that group that's going to be prosecuted, that is being prosecuted, which are the people of the state. 8ZFL374, a terrorist, directed light behind me on Hoff Orthodontics while that demon turns onto Euclid Avenue. Impossible light activity. And like I said, this is the ongoing testimony of Satan itself, revealing itself. 6XTG575. And so you have what is the ongoing conduct by an entity that's acting as one. Amazon Prime is still engaged in this conduct while I'm capturing the entity stalking by helicopter in the middle of the night. Amazon Prime is still being documented. So while they want to walk in and touch all over my body with directed light, they have been and continuously are being documented as a sex offender. And that's exactly how, as a matter of justice, companies, the people of the state, using their companies, shall be prosecuted criminally and civilly. Okay, it is currently 6:57 p.m. and I was about to say Amazon Prime, excuse me. Omnitrans is arriving at 6:57, 1399978. This is P.O.C. Alrighty, this is 6:58 p.m. getting on the Route 83 bus going southbound on Euclid Avenue, and so this is the entity that is now again moving along my right side. Going southbound, and remember I'm coming the total opposite direction on Euclid Avenue on Route 83, getting off at the Ovid Family Community Library. As I've already done, it's 6:58. I showed you video of the entity stalking by helicopter at the Ovid Family Community Library at 6:41 p.m.
All right, so like I said, these are demons that are group stalking, and it's the identification of their entire system while they're engaged in that ongoing stalking conduct. The entity is keeping the fake sun and stalking by use of helicopters, stalking with what is directed light, doing so while they are also monitoring the evidence that's going to be submitted against them in federal court, and the fact that you were ceaselessly monitoring while that evidence was being accumulated, which is also a matter of documentation. The very documentation itself is the evidence of what is the federal prison. That's automatic. It's axiomatic. The impermissible threat equals federal prison. So while you're documenting and the entity is continuously monitoring, you're talking about what is federal prison for any company, any government actor, the people of the state that are monitoring, and all the ways in which they act as a single entity. And that's exactly what Amazon Prime is documented as engaging in. And this is what the entity, by the way, has been doing for a term of years. 7ZTV457. So I want to be clear on that. It's 6:59 p.m. At this time yesterday, I was already off of the Route 83. I'm not going in this same direction. I was going northbound on Euclid Avenue coming from Chino, and what you see is the fake sun that's over me at the 7-Eleven, Amazon Prime, the company 7-Eleven, the employees inside of 7-Eleven, the demons inside and all around that venue, and the license plates that I'm reciting. They're all engaged in what is a demonic orgy, touching all over my body with what is impossible light activity under what is not possibly the sun. As you're reminded, where the direction that I was headed coming from Chino yesterday, in an opposite direction, and nowhere under any circumstances while I'm in motion on a bus is that in any location in alignment with the entrance of the 7-Eleven in Upland, California, down the street from the Upland Public Library, where the fake sun is over me at 10 o'clock in the morning. And by down the street, I mean in the direction south on the same strip of street. That is non-movement of a light source, while you are directly over my head and then aiming light horizontally all through that venue, and also a concession, an admission that you're stalking with the fake sun in order for that light activity to be present, which is the system, not normal light. Okay, because sunlight is not shooting horizontally through windows, stretching onto floors throughout the building, and in conflicting directions. And then also you've got, when they are opening and closing the doors, then you've got another method of what's supposedly directed light while it's also sitting still on the floor. It's asininity. Okay, it's a stalker. That's the obsession of the people of the state. JAXFLIM, I believe. 5RCC 546. XPO Logistics license plate 2493676. 8LSW694, 8LGX101, 6JKM245, 8MQE094, 8RMY643, 7HZZ322. All of them engaging in a sex offense together, stalking with light activity at Norm's Farmers Insurance right across the street at 7th Street and Euclid Avenue. This is a demon stalking in the path with light, flashing light at 370 Euclid Avenue. That's the people of the state in relevant positions. Let's see. – 378. Yeah, at Norbert Murphy. He's a third party at 378 Euclid Avenue, group stalking with light activity with their hazards on while the fake sun is directly on me. 9AVD129, 8MHX796, 7SUB620, 6KZM974, 8SLS449, 8UUE994, BP18Z36, 7HZZ322, 8AOY770, 8R12713, EYM. I can't really see that one. 8BTU084, 21910J3, 6BRM973, 6NLP515, EF6J6A. These are all violent sex offenders who are engaging in what is the impermissible threat while they're monitoring with the state at 7:02 p.m., including the bus driver and the minions that are on this bus group stalking. License 7SGV316, 7PKB088, 6SJF359. Enterprise rental car, crossing path. License, I think I read that one already. 3YA84E and 8SAX922, NGHTOWZ. License 7CEE206. Capturing the fake sun at 6th Street, 6th Street and Euclid Avenue, AM66E67, 6DME791, and also capturing criminal summoning while capturing that fake sun that is over me at the 6th Street, which is nearest the 10 freeway bridge. And what I'm showing you is that's the exact same location where I was at 10 o'clock on the same exact bus route while the fake sun was over my head, 88770F3. And all you're looking at, the only difference is that, first of all, the sun is not some stationary presence beside the parking garage while I'm standing at the Ovid Family Community Library. But you also know that because the sun's not going to be over that venue at any time of the year at 7:34 in the morning and then present like it was yesterday at 6:41 p.m. But nonetheless, yesterday I came from Chino, California. I got off of the bus. I captured video of the entity stalking by helicopter while I'm already at the Ovid Family Community Library after going northbound on Route 83. Today, coming from Upland, going southbound on Route 83, and the entity's light source is nowhere near the Ovid Family Community Library. And I started video at the same location where I captured video yesterday at 10 o'clock in the morning. The fake sun is over my head yesterday morning at 10 o'clock, where it is not over the Ovid Family Community Library. The entity's fake sun is in perfect alignment with me, not in Ontario, not at the Ovid Family Community Library either, at 641, which is the case as of 641. Somehow, it's north of the location of the Ovid Family Community Library and going back down the same path toward the Ovid Family Community Library as I am going toward that venue. Again, that's stalking with light. And what you see is American Medical Response engaging criminal summoning, and it is, again, the documentation of the people of the state. That is a very serious federal crime, and I documented that on video, and those license plates, those third parties, those venues in relevant position, that's federal prison. 7 VEB 415, 7 SUB 620. License BV43Y71, paper, that's a white BMW. License plate 8XYB 810. G681ZO, 8BVK509, 8TNT 810, 7S97259, and it is currently 7:11 p.m. Alrighty, again, like I stated, 7:11 p.m. Route 87, group stalking at the Linden and Euclid Avenue intersection. License 1399978 is the bus that I'm on, bus 1263. All right, and this is the minion that's operating this bus is monitoring with American Medical Response engaging criminal summoning. All right, and so this documented criminal act that I'm subject to on the bus is documented by surveillance cameras on those buses as well. Again, that's bus 1263, license 1399978, 8 ROY 901, 78 PK 808, 8 LDA 609, 8 R78006, 8 VNR 433, 8 PJW 674, 8 YTY 861, 8 TWW 511, 7 VEG 171, 8 ZOD 429, 8 4317N2, 8 PDW 067, 6B, I can't really see that one, 38416M3, 6 LGV 816, 8 BFU 411, 8 FPC 509, and it is currently 7:12 p.m. I'm at Euclid and Holt Boulevard in Ontario, and the entity's light source is at the same intersection, facing diagonally toward the 150 East Holt Boulevard, as though, again, the sun is setting directly over the richest second Jorian loan. That perfect diagonal placement. This is where the entity is keeping its fake sun as I get up in the morning. So I just want to be clear. This Omnitrans is stalking in the path with light. This is Route 83, bus 1263. What you hear? They're creating light activity. That's loitering in relevant position. 8 NQG 983, 7 UJK 228, 7 FFE 531, I believe. 7 FFE 531, 11000U1, 7 JCL 374, 8 SRU 739, and they're all molesting together. They are all molesting together. 7 HRE 199, 7 TLH 007, 7 ZYS 459, 8 SZC 502. License 6 BRB 375, 4 MGW 809, 6 ZBV 486, 7 JBW 807, 7 PAM 912. License 6 BCR 197, 8 SVA 999, 7 ASJ 267. Umbrella Corporation JESSYE 74717F3, Mr. Reuter, 8 YKF 761, 6LAA 098, 7 DKA 701, 8 SXA 298, 8 GHZ 087, 7 MBW 344. 8G35652. And I read that one already. 8TAR466. ALJ6470. 7PFD086. 8TAB492. 7CGC161. 89830F3. 92358H3. 8TIN518. 7NWX688. And Southwest Airlines Group Stalking, 6PVX995, 9AEZ001, 7SFI575, 8TUE603, 5MRM854, 8LXT842, 7ZJC182, 7LMM715, 7TOW334, 5NJA950. All right, these are violent sex offenders. This is the same entity as the demon-possessed actor, Amazon Prime group stalking at 7-Eleven, molesting. They're all engaging in a molestation together as well. It's occurring outside now. This is an entity stalking from place to place and engaging in a molestation from place to place. 8RDE537. That is the perpetual sex offender. All right, and that is the obsessed stalker. And that obsession is literally illustrated through their conduct with light, through their presence in this cartoon environment. These are very disturbed minions that are group stalking. 7UUF440, 6DME791, AM66E67 paper. And that includes Southwest Airlines flying over in direct light. 8ZOH558, 61446R2, ANNGYE. 8ZAX875 63836V1. And again, Southwest Airlines, a company engaging in a sex offense, 6XXL788. And that's exactly how companies that are the people of the state engaging in group stalking, this is how the state of California does it, this is how an entity does it, and therefore a company shall be prosecuted and civilly responsible for what is the sexual violence inflicting upon an American citizen that they are engaging in stalking and terrorizing while group stalking. 8KLZ802, 8MRX067. And it's currently 7:16 p.m. 8DNS083. I think I already wrote the one. 8SVK177 and 42891U2. 7PFR393, I believe. I think so. That's 7PFR393, I think. License 4YLZ240, 7XXA619, 5CGA266, W73380, 5YVG941, 8SBM, I can't really see that one, 8UNU199, 6ZFS638, 8GRM231, 8VOF134, 5MZK757, 6NQF287, 5COT202, 6TZD282, 7MOS555, 3787183, 5YBD895, 8GFU754, 7AEW651. License 6TBV028. Yeah, I think that is 7PFR393. I believe that's the correct license plate. License 8TW. Let me see that one. 8TWG168. 7AUD459. 7PFR393. Yeah. 8NHV713, 5MOM810, 6UOT383, 09269W1, 8DCF273, 6MQX624, 7XGF143, 8AIH411. And again, the Metro 102 apartments are monitoring, just like they were monitoring last night as I came from the Ovid Family Community Library. They are monitoring right now while the entity is keeping directed light in the intersection where demons are driving through it, molesting with directed light as well while they cross path. 20122G1, 5PKW089, 6NUD006, 9ACU968, 7SKX077, 7HAC058, 4ZET950, U-Haul crossing path, Arizona license plate AE04741, 74842X2, 8NFE588. Ontario Town Square Townhomes is group stalking. They're monitoring. They are monitoring at T-Mobile. They're monitoring at the Mestiza Cafe. The United States Postal Service. They're monitoring at the Dollar Express. The 8ANA396. 6YAD995, 5MVW914, 7TLB, I can't see the rest of one, 7DFK014, 8TNJ446, 7LZX916, 4RQB172, 7PAM912, 8ZCS262, 7HIL475, 8VGZ701, 9AEK804, CEZ9990, Arizona, 9AAL571, 72191 1V1, I believe, 7GIB193, 6LFN158, 8KAN457, 7MRF717, 8VQW126, 7N, I can't really see that one. License, let's see, I can't see that one. 8RDX323. Seven LUR225, 7EZA049, 3769 4G3, 8TCJ352, 811ZW handicap, 7WRH327, 8ZRA938, 8PAZ952, 7PWH214, 6YFN842, 8AVM226, 5WBY970, 5VNG071. These are all minions engaged in an ongoing sex offense with the state of California. License 9ALE350, 47G753 Nevada, 5SVA578, 8PZX291, 8A93966, 8UVY138, 8HJC179, 8BAB878, 4RLH633, 35102D2, 8WWF581, 9F50588, that's Stater Brothers, Group Stalking. License JSTRUCN, 7UBH394, BFJ1877, that's out of state, 8XFR602, 7PFX 835, 8DQF361, 90409X2, 8PWZ415, 6MOZ910, CA91, I can't see the rest of one. That's Omnitrans license 1535419, 8N, I can't see that one, 6PEV516, 7GCJ398, CB45H57 paper, 5PFR087, 8HTB131, 8UDN620, 7U, alright, the guard with on. License, and that's Union Pacific in the background, 6K58937. You're understanding how companies are literally just sliding into the same, they're right engaged in the same exact pattern of conduct. All right, so this is how you're identifying the people of the state that are engaging in surrounding, terrorizing you together at once, and this is how you're able to, with ease, identify and document. As I'm demonstrating using a podcast, a very effective method of doing so. License, and this is with regard to documenting a bunch of demons that are monitoring you together. 8EWJ869. License 5YUN466. UCRISLA. 6YOC781. 5CRT517. 6FYB853. 7ZTC774, I believe. 7VMD318, 7ABJ185, 7FYV577, F125WX, I think that's Utah. License 8YQW518, 32080J3, I believe. 8HVW048. 8GTB831, 8NPP329, MRCLSVA, MRCSLVA, excuse me, 8JDN259, 4X77484, 23600Y2, 6RWB 959, excuse me, 8FVU 318, excuse me.
8AGE 250, 6YOH 230, 6K58937, GS242 handicap, 6GOP 150, 8YZY 738, 11661B3, 8CRJ418, 8YMT 675, 7NXK 615, 6HCZ 8. I can't see that one. 9APZ 582, 7MNF 058, 8MQA 184, 9ABS 195, 7XYR 594, 8KTE 467, 8YZZ 528, 7J52374, PXM 233. That's JB Hunt Intermodal, back license PA 6477A. Excuse me, 770. That's JB Hunt. License 6TPM 679, 8FVN 814. 6TPM 679. I think I read that one. 985TT. That's Utah. 8EVN 814. 8CKV 342. 9BAW 146. 9AJY 528. 7CTW 066. 7CWX 167. 88787B3, 8J54687, BM77M56, I believe, paper, 7PZL448, Penske Truck Rental crossing path, Omnitrans Bus 2355 crossing path, license 8GFF030, 8SFT631, 66489S1, 7HLF434, AKDK. That's all that's on there, just 4 characters, AKDK. Eight WTX 449. 7KJ55, excuse me, 7KJ555, I believe, yeah, 7KJJ555, 8NHR993, 8UFX912, 8TJF314, 8W, I can't even see that one, 8YCS379, 7GVE157, 8SZE0, I can't see that one, 7MNJ179, 8HVL996, 8TKY810, 7XKF413, 8JWY952, 8XSU659, 82399W2, 7SJN252, 8TBN706, 8YAJ290, 8SFV113, 6UYY763. And you need to understand, this is the exact same entity that is captured, documented, stalking in the bathroom. These demons that are stalking with directed light across Hoff Orthodontics, a building behind me, appearing on the top of the logo, impossible, that's a demon. They're stalking in the bathroom, just like I documented today. Same entity, 7TYY198, 6AWE443. Demons stalking and molesting inside of the 7-Eleven, stalking in the bathroom. 8SSK382, 8EKP 863. All right, demons stalking and molesting while I'm sitting on public transportation. Specific knowledge as to where I'm at while that impossible light activity is then occurring on transportation, public transportation, while I'm on the streets. While that entity is stalking in the bathroom. Okay, that's a demon in the bathroom stall that I'm documenting. All right, and you look at the demons that are Elaine, 4GDC 409 monitoring with Elaine, a sex offender, while I'm documenting that license plate. They're one entity monitoring together. 8SOA 413, 8BQW 612, 94111E3. This level of demented conduct, this level of a stalker in a bathroom stalking you. 8EEY 237, 8YOS 528. You have what is impossible light activity sitting in the middle of the intersection while they're stalking. They're engaging in essentially like what's double Dutch in engineered light. Stalking.
The entity fills the open public library with that engineer light all day long, and they're stalking in the bathroom. That's the same exact entity. 6SPC 540, KITTY21, 7ZEM 774, 8JHY 729, 8JCB 842, 7DMZ 129. That's the sex offender. 7RYY 669, 6YFV 669. License 24673K1, 7RVG 953, KHRBWY, 73427S1, 7GOM 972, 7EBG 4. I can't really see the whole license plate. 37482Z1 Spectrum 29757R1 8BAM 326. The same exact entity. Spectrum stalking in the bathroom. Amazon Prime stalking in a bathroom. That's a terrorizing act, a sexually violent act. That's a criminal act of monitoring occurring in a private space, and you're doing it on behalf of the government. There's multiple layers of that prosecution, and this entire entity is engaging and documented as engaging. And I understand that's the nature of what is the state's pattern of conduct. The state's doing it through all these minions who are stalking from place to place to place. That place, as I documented it today, includes the bathroom. Okay? License plate 8TBV 420, 6PLA 080, 6SHR 390, 9ASE 427, 8NDK 981, 8NHV 713, 8KUY 599, 7SMW 344, 5ACN 984, 7EYS 332. And that is to be explicitly included on a criminal record, that you're a stalker, that you're a predator engaging in what is sexually perverted conduct, stalking an American citizen, stalking an individual in a bathroom. That's exactly the conduct that the entity engaged in, and that's exactly what is explicitly to be revealed with regard to a criminal record of a group stalker. The very criminal activity of the state is exactly the verbiage and what's necessary to be known on that criminal record. All right. No, you're not working with the public. You're not working with kids. You're not. There's a whole bunch of repercussions with that. 30983Y1. These demons packed in a 7-Eleven, the same entity that is molesting me with direct light, stalking in the bathroom. Okay? You're talking about the same demon-possessed entity following from place to place to place, and those demons in a bathroom stall, stalking you. It's not the call of nature. It's the stalker that is Satan, using a minion that is stalking in a bathroom stall. That's entirely demented. License plate 7UVP812, and you know that because the fake sun and directed light is present. TG8076, 7UKP823, 8WGE985, 62807X1, 7XDL339, 6ENJ555, 7XEV138, 4VLJ588, 8CTX378, 7AVA288, APFMAS, 8SJF026, 41105F3, 39844D2, 7HWG826, 6PQH540, 5KLS848. All of this entity engaging in, including Southwest Airlines, stalking me in a bathroom, pursuing me in a bathroom, monitoring, engaging in invasion of privacy, placing me under surveillance while I'm pulling my panties down, engaging in ongoing knowledge, monitoring, engaging in the invasion of privacy with what's going on inside of that private space, that private activity inside of that private space, maintaining presence through a demon-possessed third party who is then physically present to maintain presence on behalf of the entity in its totality, group stalking in that specific environment in the bathroom. This is the exact same entity that I'm naming, again, naming more of them that are engaged in ongoing stalking with the state of California. The government, by the way, that stalked me by helicopter, stalking me in the bathroom. License plate 8XFT407, 8NDX420, 7PPK881. License 7N31693, 6UNU790, I believe, but you can scratch that one. I can't really see that one that clearly. 8ETH525, 7GVF854, 8VQJ988. 7FOE883, 7TGG777, 8HUA174, 6CPJ190, 7DXG120, 8Y73539, 24W7210, 6C35907. Go ahead. License plate, excuse me, 8CIG898, 7DXG, I read that one already, 8CIG898, Minions, license 6WJX361, 5UIY946, 8RDQ850,
Those are the minions that engage in stalking with directed light, honking while as though I'm in their way when they're stalking. Okay, that's the psychopath. 7REZ688. Those are African Americans, by the way, and I read their license plate. 8VMB 879, 8NMM 497, 7DXG120. License plate 7RCC 197, 8EPS 748. All right, engaging in surveillance inside of T-Mobile, capturing those still images. They're monitoring while the entity is placing a fake sun, while direct light sitting in the middle of the intersection, while these demons are engaging in what is stalking with light, molesting with light. T-Mobile's in relevant position at the intersection monitoring. It's a facilitating video. 7EZU 895. Zolos Bidieta as well, 8VQJ 988. 8FXV 233, 7TES 772, 6MPX 827, 25777U2, 8EPS 748, 7EMF 795, 5YXB 313. All right, and these minions was 8VQJ 988 engaging in surveillance in their vehicle, and then getting out as I am approaching to get license plate and capturing images of T-Mobile. But I want to be clear, that's not they're not fleeing. It's activity creation, but they also engage in what is that conduct because the demon possessed that are stalking you, 6KUG 464, the demon possessed that are stalking engage in what is conduct as though they're doing something, they're about, their own business while you are just there. They're totally distinct and separate. They're sitting in their vehicle, stalking in the path, maintaining surveillance in perfect alignment with me where I'm standing on the sidewalk. So I've crossed the street. I'm taking pictures inside of T-Mobile. You're looking at relevant positioning. They're group stalking inside of T-Mobile. And as I continue walking, then they're getting out of their car, which is also creation of light activity. It's crossing path conduct and audible activity as they then use their vehicle as a means of sounding the alarm. Entirely demented while they're with kids. 8VOP031. License 8YLA177, 2774V1, 8FRC471. License 8HTK082, 8KEW822, 8BSY582. That's what's so comical, but it's pathetic. But it's actually very serious because you need to understand when you're listening to, for example, a minion that's honking. While they are stalking, these are the minions that know exactly where you're at. That's why directed light is present. That's why a fake sun is present. That's why impossible light activity, multiple shadows appearing on black asphalt in the middle of an intersection. They are demons. They know exactly where you are. There is no accidents. There is no being in the way. They are stalking. But you are hearing the psychopath, and that is, again, nothing other than activity creation. And it is also the conduct of a very dangerous and unbalanced, delusional psychopath. You are fully engaged in what is group stalking, and the entity engages in that sort of conduct. It's unpersuasive, but I want you to understand the conduct of the demon possessed. They are literally in a fantasy world. They're going to federal prison. They're monitoring while you hear the entities sounding and keeping a fake moon now over the intersection where the fake sun was present moments ago and directed light. That is all manner of what a psychopath stalker is. That's what a group stalker is. This is the conduct of Satan. That's who's honking their horn as though I am in their way while they're stalking me, and I'm documenting them. And so my thing is 8RQU377, 8UPR621, 8R58235. Honking is nothing other than a demon's method of activity creation. A psychopath who is must be trying to convince themselves that they are not a stalker, and that the one that you are stalking cannot possibly be in your way. You're stalking them. That's why you're in this specific environment. So you need to understand the level of sick that is. They're engaging in ongoing hovering stalking conduct. All right, and then honking the horn as though, hey, you're in the way, or I didn't see you, or you're gonna get hit. No, that's a threat, and you're also engaging in harassment. You're monitoring, and I'm documenting you, and you also know that. All right, remember the sexual violence of that sex offender Amazon Prime inside of the 7-Eleven. You know exactly where I'm at as you walk into the store. That's an impossible occurrence while directed light occurs on the buses. It's impossible light activity while you're looking at it, moving all across the venues inside of the libraries where I'm at. These are stalkers. These are psychopaths. And while you're listening to that, you're listening to the psychopath. That's a very sick person. Monitoring. License plate. 4B39558. PRXTINE 8NUU981, and all Satan is all that you're what's going to result is 8YZB144 with a child in the vehicle. That's 8DAF319 is there are those that as a matter of necessity, as I'm revealing their condition, well, they're revealing their own condition while they engage in criminal activity. I am providing what is ongoing context based on the evidence. I'm not just imputing information. They're doing it. You're looking at the impossible light activity. You're witnessing the impossible through the environment. And then you're also going to pay attention. Let me break down this conduct, what they just said. And then you're going to remember the environment that they're in and what they're doing. Okay? That's revealing a psychopath who's going to federal prison. You want to wage a threat? Because that's how that's going to be analyzed. 6YXA505. That's how that's going to be analyzed. You're a stalker, and you're engaging in your outward form is nothing but activity creation. You're not suggesting anything that is in any way superseding the evidence of your group stalking conduct. 7 UJC 696. And if you want to wage a threat, we could talk about that in federal court because you'll go to federal prison for that as well. License plate 1545806. And that's what Satan likes to do. Oh, okay. You think that I'm faking like I don't know you, so then I'm going to hit you. I'm going to hit you with a car. This is the entity's conduct. The entity has done this. Those are minions that we're monitoring. They're going to federal prison, okay? That's an unlawful threat to the life. The entity is engaging in obsessive surveillance. The entity is stalking me by helicopter. Yes, these demon-possessed minions know exactly where I'm at. Honking the horn, using their lights is nothing but activity creation while you want to wage a threat as though you're ignorant. No, you're not. You're stalking just like that government is by helicopter. You know exactly where I'm at. That's a very serious threat, and you will go to federal prison for that, and you won't be getting out. Okay, like I said, this is advocacy, and any third party that I would represent, for example, I'm speaking to what is the creation of framework to bind this minion, this entity that's in the service of Satan. But like I said, any person that I would advocate, you're talking about going to federal prison, and you're not getting out. You're already threatening the life. You're an entire psychopath, group stalking. All right, your condition is revealed by virtue of engaging in that criminal conduct, and then you want to engage in conduct that is also physically threatening the life and safety of a person while you're a demon, while you're stalking and monitoring them, engaging in what is obsessive conduct, which is totally unnatural and inexplicable. All right, 8 SDR 683, based on nothing other than what is your condition that is revealed as you engage in that criminal conduct, revealing what is very criminal demonic activity. All right, it's a criminalization of that. All right, while you want to engage in what is in any way physically harming the targeted individual whose life you are threatening while you are monitoring them, you shall go to federal prison and you shall not get out. Okay, you were talking about what is a threat that's let loose the people of the state, these demons in the state of California. These are minions that are engaging in this criminal conduct on behalf of the government, threatening your life, stalking you day and night by helicopter. All right, you're only fooling yourself, if that, but you're talking about a whole other level of psychopath crazy. Not insanity crazy, psychopath crazy. 822-18H3, 7VZW674, 8N43777, 7HWG826. And so that's why, again, this is documenting everything that the entity is engaged in. Hi, yeah, I took your picture. They're group stalking inside of T-Mobile. All right, Satan likes to stare as I document them. 7HHD455. 7JMW402, 7FJW650, 7FJW650, 6XFY946, 8RJP715. And you also already know that T-Mobile is monitoring, again, as I've already pointed out, while I was inside of that venue, paying my phone bill on more than one occasion. Inexplicable, the same directed light, all inside at the upper portion along the walls and the ceiling and the roof inside of T-Mobile. 7YDK802, minion stalking. 8BF96, I can't really see that one. That's a paper plate. 6ZRK074. And it's not just T-Mobile. It's Zolo's BD80, the Bally Spa Verizon. These venues are over here, the Bravo store, the Dollar Express. Just speaking to where I'm at on Hope Boulevard. There is the pawn shop. There's some sort of boxing club, the Ape Fitness, Sam's Liquor. This is where I'm at. 7TVJ900, 6YAD995, 8L74511, 7KYN 397, 6VXY818, 8L76625, 6WLR875, DG24EVR, 8DIW172, 7WKR907, 7723OK3, a license U690215, that's paper on a motorcycle. And like I stated, I have documented the entity engaging what is physical harm of my person. 8XXE782, I've documented the entity engaging what is assault with a deadly weapon using their vehicles. And like I said, that's exactly what I mean. This is going toward what is federal policy. But like I said, I'm prosecuting this. They're going to federal prison and they're not getting out. Okay, the government's engaging what is absolutely intolerable, threatening conduct to the lives of American citizens. That's not going to occur by proxy, and it's not going to occur by any government actor that wouldn't be able to do it in your face. All right, so you're talking about what you don't have any form using these minions. They'll go to federal prison. They won't get out. That's what's going to happen. All right, while you want to engage in that sort of conduct, and I mean it. I documented their license plate. She's already published. The minion doing so on more than one occasions, including the company Amazon Prime that wants to engage in sexually molesting inside of 7-Eleven today. They're going to federal prison. ATXJ 759. And I mean that. That's intolerable. That's those are the grounds of what is, I mean, it's already intolerable that the government is monitoring. 7 RFG 905, but you're talking about what is absolutely necessary with regard to addressing under a very clear federal policy what is the enhancement, and it is axiomatic, all right? Physical harm to the target individual, and you're monitoring, and there's nothing, you can say whatever you want, but you're in directed light, you're prosecuted. Okay, you're under the fake sun, you're prosecuted. Any physical harm to the target individual while you are monitoring, while you don't have any legal, you're going to federal prison, period. You're going to federal prison. And that's exactly where you belong. And let me be clear, Satan is a liar. You're never going to get the truth out of a lying minion anyway. The very evidence of their condition is their presence in that directed light under that fake sun, okay? With regard to the fake sun, I'm referencing nothing other than what is the unnatural environment. And this is an abnormal person, okay? A pathological liar. Satan believes its own lies. But this is the beauty of documentation, because you cannot lie effectively or persuasively, or successfully, in other words, in directed light. 5LYP837, 6ZON086, 7LLM332, and they're all molesting. And it's currently 7:46 p.m. License 4YEX384. And that is, again, Mestiza Cafe. That's a venue. They're a part of the same sex offense. It's just another method of documenting them. While they're sitting around in the cafe, making whatever it is that they make in that cafe, sitting around talking about whatever minions talk about while they're group stalking, acting like they're normal, they're engaged in a sex offense. 8KRV601 with every single last minion that I just documented, including Southwest Airlines group stalking, flying over RIA money transfer at Euclid and Hope Boulevard. 6Y97891, 8KRK224. 8TGU 591, CR England and Walmart, license 7485FL is the back license plate on that trailer for Walmart, and CR England, the trucking company, is covering that, carrying that Walmart trailer. That's the identification of 2 third parties. License plate 5YSR190 V226YD Utah, molesting. 6JIH074, molesting. 8EWG638, 8TPA098, 3U38Z50, I believe, hold on. 8U38Z50, yeah. CB45H57, those last 2 are paper. Both of those are paper. This is a neon green BMW. It's hideous. 8XES039. License 8JWZ565. License 6BGE379. 7TLF274. And it's 7:48 p.m. So I wanted to accumulate more. I want to be clear, the entity who you see in still images, for example, at the facilitating venue where I remain subject to the pattern of conduct today at Upland Public Library, all of the entity is being documented while I remain subject to the criminal pattern of conduct at that venue, okay? All I'm doing is documenting while I remain subject to it upon leaving that venue and upon going to that venue, as I documented this morning. It is the same exact pattern of conduct. It is the same single entity. The state of California. The state of California is engaged in federal group stalking and monitoring, which is interstate stalking, federal stalking amongst the state that is engaging in what is group stalking. And so group stalking, in other words, because what I was really going to say is that interstate stalking amongst the demon possessed. And so again, group stalking is demonic activity. The demon possessed are engaged in what is stalking you as a group, stalking you as an entity. They're demons. And it's even further identified by what is the very pattern of conduct as they engage in it. When I'm showing you what I've termed directed light, you're witnessing demons. The demon possessed. A very real status, a very real condition, okay? And it is one that you cannot physically perceive. You know a demon, you know you're in the presence of a demon, regardless of the way they want to physically conduct themselves, like the demons that are sitting on Omnitrans buses looking forward
while directed light is all around on the top of the bus and touching all over me while they're looking out the windows, talking on their phones, signaling to turn, operating the bus, driving, chit-chatting, laughing, or sitting there quietly. They're demons, all of them. And that is what is known, again, not based on some superficial basis, how a demon is dressed or how a demon is speaking or how calm or how quiet they are or how dismissive or how nonchalant or how ignorant they seem to be about what's going on around them. They're demons based on the environment that they're in. They are there because of their condition. They are not there coincidentally. They are not there ignorantly. Okay? That is how you know them. Okay, that is very much a deed by being present in an environment, and it's serving a criminal system that is interstate stalking. And so breaking that down, what I'm stating is the entity is engaging in what is interstate stalking amongst the demon-possessed. Only the demon-possessed, only those of that specific condition are group stalking. Group stalking is about the maintenance of what is abnormal light, about presence in abnormal light, about ongoing conduct, activity, behavior in this abnormal light. As demons engage in what is appearing out of the blue, hurrying up to cross path if I do something suddenly on my phone, rushing up and down the stairs as I'm capturing images, the maintenance of what is engineered light as I've broken that system down. So you're looking at they look like the clowns that they are. They're a bunch of demons. That's not sunlight. That's remaining inside of the Upland Public Library all day long. That's not the sun. That's remaining when you're breaking that system down, because that's supposedly sunlight that's appearing, shooting into the roof of the library from the sky. So you're suggesting that's the sun. Well, that's not the case when it's thoroughly documented that, supposedly the sun's remaining over the Chino Branch Library all day long when I'm there from 10:30 in the morning until 7 o'clock in the evening. And that is in no way even on the street of Euclid Avenue, while it's remaining over me, literally over my head while I'm inside of the building. It's right over my head through the window. It's right over my head as I stand outside of the door. It's right over my head as I stand in the parking lot. It remains in perfect alignment with me while I stand in that parking lot, just as you see while I'm in Upland, California, walking in from Upland Public Library where I remained all day. The two are mutually exclusive though. Okay, the parking lot of the Chino Branch Library is not in some perfect line such that it's occurring at the same time, in other words, which is what the pattern of conduct that I've documented would suggest, and that's not the case. And that's not the case everywhere else either. Nor is the sun the natural environment that is surrounded by scientific facts that tell us about our natural environment. This is not what I'm documenting. I'm documenting an unnatural environment. And the environment is under no time is the natural environment, the sun, remaining physically present as I've documented. For example, the Ovid Family Community Library at 7:34 in the morning before daylight savings time. And as I documented yesterday at 6:41 in the afternoon at the exact same location on the sidewalk facing the side of the Ovid Family Community Library. That is at no time ever happening in the natural, under the natural environment, under the rules of the natural environment, which are supported by science. How supposedly the sun works, how our universe works, how the galaxy works. All right, how this sun is not going to be present over an address all day long and engaging in what is presence that's so long. It is enduring for so long. It's such a slow moving object that's clearly not going anywhere to be at the opposite end where my camera is just turned to the opposite direction. It's still aiming on me, and you even see what is light into the parking garage. That's not even any sort of light that's going to occur while that fake sun remains over me at that same address of the Ovid Family Community Library. What do you also see? Engineered light while I'm walking into the doors of that Ovid Family Community Library, which is the pattern of stalking with light. That's what the entity is doing on a grand scale with a fake sun. That's why I've termed it that, because it is a fake sun. This is a fallacy with regard to the operation of the environment that surrounds. And those that are present in that environment, which is revealing, you are learning, it's a lot of people, okay? And you're talking about what is a lot of people that are of this condition that are engaging in what is demonic conduct, and you're understanding what is, first of all, the reality of Satan, the reality of darkness, the reality of evil, or whatever you want to call it. But this is a real entity, so I'm going to call it by its name. This is Satan, okay? This is the work of Satan, and this is Satan. And Satan is not based on the identification of Satan. The absolute fact of the ability to know as a fact the presence of Satan is through the environment. That is unmistakable. All right, and it is through the conduct of those in that environment, and that very directed light that you're seeing while I'm on a bus, while I'm sitting on the bus showing you video, showing you what's outside of the bus, and you see light just sparking across a building. That's not normal light. That's not normal at all. Okay, demons surround. That's a signature of demons. And it doesn't matter how nice or how passive they may conduct themselves. That is absolutely irrelevant. Okay? They can be foaming at the mouth, or they can be extraordinarily beautiful or handsome and well-groomed and well-dressed, well-manicured demons. It does not matter. That's what you need to understand. Okay? And so the system of federal group stalking and monitoring is nothing other than what is interstate stalking. All right? That's what it's referred to. It's called federal stalking amongst the demon possessed. The entity that is engaging as group stalking is the entity that is demon possessed. It is the work of Satan. And not only that, what I have done is not only have I showed you what surrounds these demons, the environment that they're in, you can know. All right. And you shall know, and you do know, with regard to the identification of that condition, which is unmistakable. They can deny it, but you know the truth. All right. So you're talking about what is no way concealed with regard to that condition that the demon possessed would like to keep you ignorant to. Satan does not like that. But like I said, Satan is at this point, while I'm exposing Satan, you're revealing your own cards while you're engaging in the directed light conduct. And not only that, what is corroborating evidence to what is something as unfathomable as a demonic targeting system? What is corroborating evidence? Yes, it is corroborating evidence that the entity is stalking me by helicopters. Understand that. That's corroborating. That's directly relevant. It's very relevant because that is such a profound occurrence, and it is that which is frequent. And it's not just an anomaly. It's not just a frequent for a certain amount of time. No, you're talking about what is a term of years. This is an unmistakable pattern. It is corroborating evidence for the truth that I speak to you about what Satan is doing amongst a people, all right, and amongst a government that's engaging in what is not only is this revealing what is the work of Satan, but guess what? This is prosecution of that demonic activity. That demonic activity, which is also to be translated into a federal prosecution for terrorism. This is terrorism underway while you're under surveillance by the government, puppets of Satan that want to keep tabs on American citizens. But guess what? In America, that's a violation of the Constitution. All right, so Satan's minions are identified. You are pinning it down. While they're engaging in demonic activity, the sound of a train, well, you can pin that down to an identified actor, Union Pacific, Metrolink, the company. You're going to hold the people of the state accountable and engage in this criminal conduct together. All right, where beforehand, prior to the intent of the system is that group stalking, the entity is so numerous, the conduct is so unfathomable, the conduct is so demented, the conduct is so unheard of, there's no way to pin it down, there's no way to prosecute it, there's nobody to even report it to. Who are you going to report it to? A third party? Who are you going to report it to? The demon-possessed entity that's seeking to obstruct justice? There's nobody to report that to. Like I said, you're talking about what is the ability to enforce your own rights, and it is via the public the public exposition of that criminal conduct, which is speaking to the documentation that you publish, and that is speaking to the ability to initiate what is that federal case against the state, that knowledge of what a government is doing, and what that government is doing, you already know, federal group stalking and monitoring in and of itself by definition. What the government is doing it through the people. And the people have fully put on display their own condition. Not only did I say it, not only did I evidence what I said, you have them fully engaging in what is the conduct in conformity to what I said they're doing. All right. You're talking about what is, you've been told everything and you've been shown everything. All right. So like I said, what I said I was going to do, I did. And what else I said I'm going to do, I am going to do. Not only am I revealing the truth of what is the work of Satan, those who serve Satan, and your ability to know that very same identification, and no minion can lie to you. You can know without a shadow of a doubt. All right. You're talking about what is also prosecuting it. And the ways in which you are necessarily prosecuting an entity of this level of sickness, of this level of darkness, engaging in this level of lawlessness, while they are, first of all, put on its heels. All right, this is Satan that's put on its heels. But let me be clear, this is why they belong in federal prison, because what the entity's response, while it is being subject to what is justice, while it's being exposed, what you'll notice, what you're paying attention to, is Satan's response, the criminal's response. The entity's response is to engage in more violation, more criminal conduct, more sexual violence. That is one that belongs in federal prison.
All right. That's a violent sex offender. That's a very dangerous actor. And so, like I said, all the grounds of what is federal prison, you're talking about what's already rising at the level of federal prison by virtue of the government engaging in surveillance under existing federal law. Title 18, Section 22618, subsections 1 and 2. Federal prison is already within the scope of what is necessary as a matter of justice based on the fact pattern of the entity engaging in what is criminal monitoring. All right, so you're talking about what is already within we're well beyond that threshold. Like I said, federal group stalking and monitoring, you're talking about putting a whole bunch of people away, okay? Because you're talking about a government that's targeting and seeking to, not only are they targeting, the entity also wants to obstruct justice. That's a very real threat to the life of an American citizen. And that's what I'm speaking to. It's intolerable at the outset to engage in criminal surveillance of an American citizen. You're already threatening the life engaging in that. And you're doing so by a whole pack of demons, every single last one of them. The mailman, okay? The coffee barista, okay? The grocery store clerk, the librarian, okay? The kindergarten teacher, alrighty? The security guard, the police department. You're talking about what is already a threat to your life, what is unprecedented criminal conduct that you are subject to, and terrorism by all of those sorts of freaks who engage in what is the extent of chasing you into a bathroom. That is very, very extreme. Very, very extreme and very, very disturbing conduct by an entity. Okay? And so, like I said, this is the documentation of, again, while I remain inside of the Open Public Library, this is nothing other than what is the same exact P.O.C., the same exact entity. While you're looking at the images of particular actors, Elaine, the employee at State Facilitating Venue Open Public Library, this hefty Caucasian female who's a violent sex offender, monitoring me while my panties are down, while another third party who she is monitoring with goes on and takes one for the team, walks into the bathroom, which is crossing a path conduct, a demon that is stalking you, that is, inside of the bathroom. All right, while it's an ongoing matter of public information that your panties are down at that moment, of what you're doing inside of that bathroom stall. All right, if you are looking in a certain direction, if you are engaging in what is putting your hand in your pocket, as you are necessarily engaging in what is touching your body, engaged in a private activity, the entity engaging in what is entirely demented with ongoing knowledge of what you're doing. With regard to the ongoing knowledge of where you are at and what you're doing, this is the sex offender that is also molesting with directed light as Amazon Prime. That demon-possessed third party does so at 7-Eleven. This is the pattern of conduct from venue to venue. Okay, so I want to be clear. Amazon Prime was monitoring me while my panties were down in the bathroom today. That's what you need to understand. And Amazon Prime is also present while, again, the entity that is the where I remain at Upland Public Library, and that's exactly what it is, a venue. That's why the fake sun remained over that venue all day long and nowhere near Chino, California. Nowhere near the bus route coming from Chino, California to Ontario. Quite the opposite, coming from Upland, California to Ontario. All right, that's a venue. I remain subject to that criminal pattern of conduct and this entire entity engaging in that sexual violence as I document the entity stalking in the bathroom, the entity molesting with directed light, the entity engaging in what is stalking and terrorizing, surrounding me with this directed light inside of the venue while I remain subject to surveillance. The entity engaging in what is criminal surveillance, engaging in what is criminal summoning. As you capture that, I'm documenting not one person, I'm documenting the entity. That's the state of California. That's how that demon that's stalking me by those demons that are stalking me by helicopters, that's how they get entry into the bathroom where they are obsessively stalking me. It's via the demon-possessed entity that are the people of the state. That's how they want to be next to me inside of the aisles, inside of the grocery store, inside of the 7-Eleven. It's through the demons that are the people of the state, group stalking. And those demons include those that are affiliated with company brands such as Amazon Prime. Southwest Airlines, because that's exactly what Southwest Airlines was documented engaging in. While they're stalking me at Holt and Boulevard and Euclid Avenue and at the Ontario Museum of History and Arts, all right, and while I'm on the 10 freeway, and while I'm at the walking on Sierra Avenue in Fontana, California, all right, while I am on Omnitrans buses, while I am at the B&G Plaza, everywhere that I go, in other words, while I'm at the Stater Brothers, the entity group stalking by Southwest Airlines, which Southwest is not alone, but I'm just giving you an example. Southwest Airlines is documented today. Southwest Airlines is acting on behalf of the entity. Southwest Airlines documented stalking me, monitoring me while my panties are down. Southwest Airlines is a very violent sex offender. Okay, going to the extreme to make sure that I continue to remain subject to with a threat to my life while I go into the bathroom and pull my panties down. All right, that is the extremity that Southwest Airlines is engaging in while monitoring on behalf of the state of California. So anyway, it's currently 8:04 p.m. and this is the pattern of conduct while I'm at the Ontario Museum of History and Arts, and the entire entity The state of California is all ears. This is the obsessed stalker. That is the entity that is witnessing its own exposure and its own prosecution. And the conduct of that unstable psychopath is to continue engaging in stalking. And you see that through the light activity. You see that through what is the maintenance of what is not possibly the sun. And this is a very dangerous psychopath while they maintain this environment, which is in no way suggesting that it's the natural environment. You're talking about what is a psychopath. You're a stalker engaging in what is a conduct with directed light, direct evidence that you're a demon-possessed group stalker, honking your horn while you're stalking me as though I'm in your way, while you're stalking me is not persuading anybody that you are doing anything other than what is highly demented criminal conduct and sexual violence. In the same way, while the entity is stalking with the fake sun, is in no way suggesting that it is the natural environment. It is revealing what is that violent, unbalanced, and very delusional danger. That is that entity that is in the service of Satan. In the service of Satan is a real threat to your life, while the entity is engaging in what is conduct together as an entity, monitoring and obsessively stalking. Okay, in what is literally a cartoon environment. It's not persuading anybody. It's not changing what is the direct evidence of what you're doing. Nobody is fooled by that. It's in no way even suggesting that it is anything other than what it is. Science reveals and suggests the documentation as I've revealed it. Science is not in any way supportive of what is supposedly the sun remaining over an address in the morning and in the evening. So from the morning, let's just use, let's say the 7-Eleven and up in California. The sun is not, science does not in any way suggest or support the sun is present directly over the address of 204 North Euclid Avenue and up in California, as you're just using that as a starting point. I'm an observer at this venue, which is why you document, and the sun is directly over my head at this address at 204 North Euclid Avenue, and that's a very specific method of documentation because the sun is directly over me at that address. And while I'm at that address in the evening after 6:30 in the afternoon, 6:30 in the evening, I'm at that same address and I am looking at the light object that is in perfect alignment over my person, aiming light into that building of that same exact address. You're talking about what is at the end of a day. That science is in no way supportive of that. That is revealing a glaring evidence of what is the unnatural environment, the irrefutable and insurmountable evidence of what is the proof that many people will probably rely on more so than my reference to the demonic. Okay, well, you don't want to reference the demonic. Well, what you will reference is what is a scientific impossibility. Okay, because that's what you cannot, and under any circumstance, well, you can't reasonably dismiss that. All right, and anybody does, you can't even, that's not even a tenable position. But like I said, science does not suggest that. And so the entity that is stalking with this environment, when it is fully revealed what you are doing, this is, again, that's the ongoing impermissible threat. You don't have a right to report to work. You don't have a right to be wherever it is that you live. This is flipping that entire system on its head. You are in no way sheltered from a prosecution. You're going to be prosecuted in the ways that federal law prescribes, and that is necessary as a matter of justice in order to confront what is an entirely twisted and malicious system that is designed from the outset, by the way, to terrorize an American citizen and then silence that American citizen, if not steal their reputation, engage in what is kidnapping them while you remain subject to that pattern of conduct, but it's unbeknownst. All right, you don't know why you're subject to what is for example, a prosecution. For example, you don't know your legal rights, so you don't know that you were entitled to an arraignment 2 weeks ago after you were arrested and you're just sitting in jail. You don't know that. All right. You don't know the significance of them changing the uniforms that you're in while they all of a sudden just move you into a different area of the jail while you have not had any court hearings. You don't know your legal rights. You don't know the significance of the area in the jail where you're being where you're remaining. All right. You don't know the significance of you're agreeing to talk with a medical professional and you say, oh, well, why not? I don't care. I mean, maybe I can tell them about what these people are doing to me. You don't know the threat that is posed to you, the ordinary target individual. This is how the system is designed. Let me be clear. There is no minion in the state of California that's avoiding a prosecution regardless of where you live, where you work. It is no legal argument. And that is necessary with regard to the justice that is required. Understand that that's how the system is built, so that these demon-possessed psychopaths can engage in monitoring you while they report to work, while they live wherever it is they live. That's the very design of the system. Intended out its outside to never, ever be suspected, never, ever be found out. You are engaging in what is stalking in the unthinkable manner. You're stalking where you live. You're stalking where you work. You're stalking wherever it is that you're shopping. You're shopping wherever it is that you're located, because you don't have a right to be anywhere. The government's engaged in surveillance. And so you're flipping that entire system on its head. And as a matter of justice, you will be prosecuted wherever it is that you are. Wherever you are, you will be prosecuted with the government, the state of California. So anyway, currently it's 8:09 p.m. and this is P.O.C. It is 10:13 p.m. I already captured 2 videos of the entity group stalking. By the entity, I mean this is the state of California that is utilizing helicopters flying repeatedly over me at the Ontario Museum of History and Arts. And this is the entity that is doing so right now at 10:13 p.m. Doing so in what is that specific environment? First of all, you have what is supposedly the moon, where also this is the same location where supposedly the sun is also rising over me in the morning. And this is where the moon is directly over me, which is where the people of the state are group stalking around me, where directed light is molesting all over me, while the state of California is flying above me repeatedly by helicopter. That is the center, literally, of the demon-possessed, who I am the center of the universe around the demon-possessed who are engaging in this criminal system. And it is group stalking. This is the state of California that's engaging in that repeated crossing of path conduct. This is a demon that is patrolling, doing so with a helicopter at the Ontario Museum of History and Arts. And 10:13 p.m. I'd captured, like I stated, 2 additional videos prior to this. I do want to publish it on my podcast. This is what the people of the state are directly engaging in. Like I said, this is the ongoing ceaseless pattern of conduct. The entity that was stalking in the bathroom, as I documented, the entity that's molesting me with directed light inside of the 7-Eleven, inside of the Upland Public Library, on the Omnitrans bus, at the Ontario Museum of History and Arts right now, is stalking by helicopter and is engaging in criminal surveillance with that government that's stalking by helicopter, and that's the people of the state who are also captured in that video. A demon is stalking with light, and the method of light activity is this: while this demon is group stalking, this demon, while I'm in operation on my communication device, understand the many methods of stalking with light that I have documented, I've shown to you. The entity placing directed light, keeping it inside of the venue for the duration of the day. Demons are stalking with light while they are maintaining presence in that engineered light. Exhibit A is the Upland Public Library. All right, the sun is not remaining over a building all day long. The entity keeps the fake sun over the roof of that building and keeps directed light inside of that building. Those demons that are present in that environment are stalking with light. They are stalking with light while they pace all around me inside of that venue. The entity is doing the exact same thing while directed light is covering all of the walls of the Ontario Museum of History and Arts. And this is light that is shooting horizontally as the shadows are appearing upright on the walls of the museum, as opposed to what would be from light that's coming from, for example, a light fixture, where your shadow would be on the ground. You're looking at what is the trajectory of this directed light. This is a demonic environment. And this demon that is group stalking at the Ontario Museum of History and Arts, this demon engages in what is an iteration of stalking with light, as I'm documenting on video, which is the communication of a threat as an entity that is group stalking. And this demon does so using a lighter. This is the same demon that I've captured engaging in what is group stalking. This is a Caucasian male. His condition is demon possession. He's engaging in criminal conduct, engaging in repeated acts of terrorizing with the government, as the government uses helicopters to engage in ongoing stalking and terrorism while monitoring me. And this Caucasian male is engaging in that pattern of conduct again tonight with another third party, and uses what is a lighter, which is nothing other than another form of what is creation of light, manifesting light while stalking in the path while I'm in operation of my communication device. And I'm also being molested with directed light. I have 2 shadows that are appearing at a distance away while I am capturing this video. You could see the 2 shadows in front behind this demon that's stalking with a method of light activity. And one that is, there are 2 different shadows that are at a distance separate from each other, and they're upright on the wall behind that demon. So this is the environment where the entity is stalking by helicopter. The people of the state are patrolling on Euclid and Hall Boulevard, just as I was reading their license plates at that intersection where the fake sun was present. The same intersection, which is literally the same location where the entity is rising the fake sun. So this is where the fake moon is at as well. And I'm speaking to what is fake because the natural environment, you're not going to have what's the sun rising and setting over specific. I'm documenting at the address of the Ontario Museum of History and Arts. The entity is placing a fake sun over me as though it's rising at the museum, setting in alignment where I get off the bus. Now, if I got off the bus at the Ontario Museum of History and Arts, understand that's where the entity would be setting the fake sun. It's based on where I'm going. It's not the sun that will be at the same intersection where the sun is present in the morning. It's non-movement of the light source. In addition to that, it's the surrounding directed light showing what is nothing other than the P.O.C. And it's also showing what is the center. I am literally the center, the focus of these demons, while literally the moon is over the same side of the building that the fake sun is over me during the day. So this is where the people of the state are engaging in monitoring and stalking with that entity that is repeatedly flying in circles. This is a demon engaging in that conduct with a helicopter. All right. And this is the all of the entity, as I've documented, all of the people of the state of California being prosecuted for the criminal surveillance by the people of the state at the Ontario Museum. And this is that sex offender that is stalking in the bathroom. Understand that sex offender that is stalking in the bathroom is engaging in surveillance as the state of California. The people of the state, the demon-possessed population, are in the shoes of the government. And that's how this obsessed government that is indeed stalking me by helicopter makes its way into the bathroom while that ongoing obsessive stalking is underway inside of that private space. The very demons that are engaging in surveillance at the museum, they are the people of the state. And so that is captured in a video. It's currently 10:19 p.m. and I'm just speaking to this because this is what the government is doing on an ongoing basis. And again, this is just based on where I'm at. The entity has been documented for years. A group stalking by helicopter at the Ontario Ovitt Family Community Library, over and around my vehicle day and night as I was living in my car before the Ontario Police Department, the demon-possessed agency, engaged in theft of my property in concert with the people of the state, acting via bill and wags while the pattern of conduct was underway. As I documented prior to the theft of my vehicle by this entity, I captured day and night the entity flying over my vehicle, nowhere near the Ontario Museum of History and Arts, flying directly over my car, as I captured in tons of videos which are already published. The entity group stalking, following me to and from my vehicle and the Ovitt Family Community Library, and flying over and stalking at the Mercy House at 435 South Bonneview, group stalking by helicopter as I would walk from the library to Mercy House, or from Mercy House back to the museum, wherever it is that I would go. This is fully documented already. The entity following me around, group stalking by helicopter for years. The entity group stalking by helicopter while I am inside and outside, walking to and from the Fontana Lewis Library. The entity group stalking by helicopter at the Fontana Metrolink train station, where I've documented the exact same P.O.C. And group stalking by helicopter is the state's pattern of conduct. It is also a hallmark. The entity engaging in what is group stalking while I am at Economy Inn, documenting that day and night, while the entity was keeping a fake sun during that time of my stay at that venue, subject to this pattern of conduct, where the entity was keeping a fake sun during the day, the duration of the entire day, never left that parking lot unless I left that parking lot, and that fake sun left over that parking lot directly over my head. All right. And doing so with a fake moon over that parking lot at night. Documented conduct, already documented, mutually exclusive to what is that? In other words, the fake sun that remained over Economy Inn is not remaining over the Upland Public Library at the same time all day as I'm documenting now. It's not occurring at the same time. It is mutually exclusive, as are the ongoing documentation that I've shown what the entity is doing, making me the center of its universe while it is engaging in group stalking with this entity that is engaging in what is stalking by helicopter, as I documented it at Economy Inn. The entity engaging in what is group stalking by helicopter at Mayfair Inn, as I documented in August of 2020. This is while the entity was keeping a fake sun over my hotel room, over that venue, engaging in what is keeping a fake sun, and as though the sun was then setting at Mayfair Inn into the depths of my hotel room. All right. The orange colored sunlight aiming onto the second floor of that hotel room where my hotel room was at, and documenting while I'm inside of my room what is impossible light activity that the entity would fill inside of my room, keeping that fake sun until the end of the day, which is exclusive to what the entity is doing now. Understand that same exact pattern of conduct, making me the center of the universe where the entity was stalking by helicopter. All right. The entity group stalking by helicopter while I am remaining at what is the Chino Branch Library, while the entity was amplifying the sound of helicopter activity, as I just documented the other day inside of that venue, while again I published very damning evidence. The entity that is exceedingly hostile, the entity that is demon possessed, engages in what is terrorism via helicopter. This is perhaps the state's most threatening method of group stalking, and it is indeed threatening. It is pathetic. I want to be clear that you're using all that resource to engage, and that's all you're doing. You're literally flying in circles over me. That's everything that you're focused on. I mean, the fake moon shows that you are totally focused on me. And that's both pathetic and it's also entirely terrorizing, as though the entity is indeed planning on dropping bombs on you, shooting at you, taking aim at you, engaging in what is stalking with helicopters in concert with the demon-possessed police officers documented by the Ontario Police Department, as though they are going to unleash an arsenal on you. This is in every way terrorism, all right? And so the entity engaging in what is this group stalking conduct as I remain inside of Starbucks, cafes, documented criminal activity. All right, the entity engaging in what is group stalking by helicopter while I'm aboard Omnitrans buses. Documented activity, not just last week, where I documented David, employee number 2366, who's going to federal prison for that. He is monitoring me, and that's an unlawful threat while he is engaging in that, and the entity is flying, stalking me by helicopter, and stalking me with David. They're monitoring together, just like these demons at the Ontario Museum of History and Arts are monitoring together, and it is the grounds of federal prison. There is nobody that's getting away with anything. The demon wearing the Amazon Prime vest, documented, subject to federal prison. All right, let me be clear. Nobody's getting away with anything while they're sitting around stalking. They are identified as the people of the state, and you have what are very real people who will be going to federal prison for the criminal conduct that the entity is engaging in together as one, acting both directly and vicariously. All right. And so I just want to document that this is a wealth of documentation while the entity is group stalking. Again, as I'm documenting inside of Woodside Senior Apartments, where Tracy Banks is a third-party group stalker in concert with the demon-possessed elderly. All of them servants of Satan. The entity keeping the fake sun over apartment 51 while I remain there. The entity stalking by helicopter. Published documentation at Woodside Senior Apartments. All right. Specifically following me, remaining where I am, pursuing me in helicopters. This is the terrorizing conduct of a demon-possessed entity engaging in what is group stalking. That's also what clearly the case while the entity is flying over me at the with a helicopter, and doing so on an ongoing daily basis. All right, so this is it's 10:24 p.m. and this is what the people of the state are directly engaging in. I am documenting what is S.I.I.S, who engaged in criminal summoning. That's already grounds of federal prison. All right, I'm documenting Officer Turner of the Upland Police Department engaging in what is molesting me with directed light. This is not forgotten. It's still on the record, where he was monitoring me at my apartment at Reading Way in Upland, California, under the fake sun in May 2018 with Tracy Banks. He's subject to federal prison for that. He is molesting me in 2021 with directed light while I'm at the Upland, in the city of Upland, standing outside of Molly Super. He's bearing weapons while and doing so as a hostile demon who was monitoring me, and then doing so with knowledge of the fact that I'm documenting it. The entity is group stalking in other words, this is documentation of all of those minions that are already documented and the people of the state that are engaging in surveillance with that government. This is the entity that is prosecuting itself, speaking to what is the ongoing grounds of federal prison for every minion, for the totality of an entity as well that will be prosecuted. But you're talking about what is the grounds of federal prison as a matter of justice, and those that are again engaging in what is exceedingly egregious criminal conduct with this government that's stalking me by helicopters, posing a very real and ongoing threat, an ongoing determination, an ongoing obsessed effort of stalking and terrorizing while you're monitoring documentation. All right. So I'm referencing these prior actors. They are not prior with regard to no longer engaged in the P.O.C. They are prior insofar as I documented them. I already published their criminal act as I was subject to it on a particular date before the present. But they are still fully engaged in that pattern of conduct, which the government is still operating by virtue of you're witnessing the entity stalking me by helicopter tonight. Okay. And they are going to federal prison, as I stated then. They are going to federal prison as the government is engaging in that ongoing criminal pattern of conduct now. And this is ongoing evidence speaking to what is the necessity of that as a matter of justice. It is currently 10:26 p.m. and this is P.O.C. at the Ontario Museum of History and Arts, where the people of the state are pacing, walking through the courtyard of the museum. As I've shown you in this video that I captured earlier, they're walking around in engineered light, just like they are inside of the Upland Public Library. They're pacing around in engineered light, monitoring with communication devices, pacing with the entity that is repeatedly stalking by helicopter. And by stalking by helicopter, the entity, this is a demon flying a helicopter that is pacing all around above my head in the sky space where I'm being molested with engineered light. This is the ongoing demonic objective to maintain presence all around. They're like a bunch of cockroaches and I'm the cookie dough and they're crawling all around. Okay. That's what they're doing in engineered light. It's a demonic activity. It's what is also criminal monitoring. They're all monitoring together with communication devices while they're crawling all around me in engineered light. All right. It's currently 10:27 p.m. This is P.O.C. Group stalking.